presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the Fox. We are the West.
In the city that never sleeps, the Rangers and Yankees back at it again in a Saturday matinee from the Bronx. Welcome to Rangers Baseball, presented by AT&T. And we were just here and back at it again at Yankees Stadium. Middle game in our three-game series as the Rangers look to bounce back after a disappointing 2-1 loss last night in extra innings. Hello again, everybody. Welcome and great to be with you this afternoon. I'm Dave Raymond with CJ Nikowski. It was a short turnaround for this team. Last night, though, CJ, look, despite the way it finished, we were treated to a delightful pitcher's duel.
It was a ton of fun to watch. Both Masahiro Tanaka and Yu Darvish go at it. A lot of attention was on this game because of these guys both being from Japan. A lot of people back home watching, and they did not disappoint. They went toe-to-toe. Ultimately, neither pitcher was part of the decision when it was all said and done, but it was a lot of fun to watch those guys compete.
It was very entertaining. Ends up going 10 innings, 2-1 the final score. Now, today, no pressure. Austin Bibbins-Dirks. He's been great on the road, but this is a big one today.
And that is good news that he has been good on the road, but more importantly that he's slid into this rotation and has done an excellent job here for the Rangers, and kind of a surprise. Look what he did against the Nationals, who we know have a great offense. A lot of fun to watch that game and call that game. Those 7 innings, the ground downs are what were key. And he's going to have to do that again today against the Yankees, going up against another high-powered offense for him. So certainly for Austin Bibbins-Dirks, another challenge. And this is kind of interesting. Well, yes, it's a very early career, only 17 and a third innings, but he's been very good on the road, and so that's certainly some good news. He has handled road games extremely well. Not always an easy thing to do as a rookie.
And a bit of an unknown to this Yankees team, so perhaps that will be an advantage for him. On the other side of it, though, Luis Cessa, what do we know about him?
Not a ton. And now the good news is he's very early in his career. Pitched 7 innings last year, just 7 so far this season. But you see him at home here at Yankee Stadium, has struggled, and you see the home run. So that has been an issue for him. He can be a fly ball pitcher. We know, of course, that the Rangers have a lot of power in their lineup, so they'll be trying to launch today against Cessa.
All right, well, it was a lot of fun last night. We're looking for a bounce-back effort this afternoon. Rangers, of course, last night late, they turned to Elvis Andrus. He was huge once again, the legs propelling him and the Rangers to the lead. Emily Jones will have him in the spotlight when we come back. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. And by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
Just about set for game 2 of 3 here at Yankee Stadium between the Rangers and the Yankees. The Yankees took game 1 in late inning fashion, but before that, Elvis Andrus got some things done on the base paths and at the plate. He is our Shiner Light Blonde spotlight subject today. And Elvis started early with the base hit single in the first inning. Tried to advance to second with a steal, but got caught stealing. Jeff Bannister said he doesn't mind that at all. He loves the aggressiveness on the base pass. Then in the ninth, he gets the single down the first base line, ends up stealing third base, and would ultimately score on that pass ball. So the Rangers take that 1-0 lead into the bottom of the ninth inning. Of course, things would not end well for the Rangers, but Elvis Andrus has been lights out since May 13th. You see the numbers here, leading the team in runs, hits, RBIs, and steals. Jeff Bannister says he can impact this game in any way, with his legs, with his bat, with his defense. Elvis says he prides himself on being that versatile player that can do anything this team needs, depending on the situation that arises. He wants to be versatile, and he wants to be able to pull off and execute whatever's needed at that point in time in the game, guys.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Emily. Can he pitch?
I'll ask him.
You can never have too much pitching. All right, we're ready to go. Take a look at our Southwest starting lineup this afternoon. The Rangers a game under 500, 36 wins and 37 losses. And Delano DeShields back in that leadoff spot this afternoon. Chu slots down to second. And you can see Robinson Chirinos with a start behind the plate. He'll be batting 8th. Well, underway. First pitch right in there for a strike to Delano DeShields. Delano did not start yesterday. He did pinch run late in the game and shoots this one foul.
We know what Delano can do at the top of the lineup. It's been a little bit more difficult now with everybody healthy as far as finding him the consistent at-bat, but he's still such a threat. We know Chu has done such a great job when he's leading off for the Rangers, but Delano DeShields also brings a ton of value at the top.
Aaron Judge getting chance from the crowd here already. He's done nothing but go out to right field. But
let's roll call here.
Fans want to see him tip the cap. He did.
Yeah, of course. They go through everybody that's in the field. That's a tradition here at Yankee Stadium, that every player hears their name called until they acknowledge the fans, the bleacher creatures in right field. Now, it's kind of made its way around the entire stadium these days, but you got to wave and then they'll move on to the next guy.
Can you stretch it out and just not acknowledge?
Oh, you
let
could.
It go for a half inning?
Absolutely, you could do it.
Why wouldn't you?
You know, you don't want to get those guys on your bad side.
Sessa to the plate, 3-2, and DeShields keeps the at bat going. Fouls that one all the way back into the upper deck. So Delano, he started 3 of 7 games on the homestand. But when he has been in the lineup, he has produced. And he takes one up and in. So DeShields is on a leadoff walk. Gets us started today.
Let's take a look at the Luis Sessa pitch arsenal. This is his entire career, which has been a short one here so far, but we took the data from last year, put it all together. Fastball is nearly 50% of the time. It's a good one. It'll average 95 miles an hour. The slider is the first go-to. It'll sit at 85, and he's used that nearly a quarter of the time. The curveball and the changeup round out the secondary offense.
So deals immediately with a base runner, and a good one at that. Delano with 17 stolen bases in 20 attempts, and he's going. The first pitch is strike. The throw to second is high, and DeShields is in there with stolen base number 18.
What a great start to this game for Delano DeShields. First of all, leading it off with a walk, getting on base, exactly what Jeff Bannister wants him to do, but then advancing here on a pretty good fastball. But the throw was high. That gave him just enough time to be able to get underneath. Austin Romine gave it everything he had, but once that throw started sailing a little bit in the air, that allowed Delano DeShields to slide in at first.
Chu happy to take the strike to see DeShields move into scoring position. Yesterday, Chu drew a walk in his final at bat. Was 0 for 4 prior to drawing that walk in the 10th inning. Getting on at better than a .380 rate this year. Has 11 home runs and 34 RBIs. Count 1 and 2. Austin Romine out to the mound already. This is what we saw last night with Gary Sanchez. A lot of chats out on the hill.
Yeah, and you and I grew pretty tired of it pretty quickly, and I think a lot of fans do as well. And we've just taken notice. Yankee games in general always go long because they're an offense that takes a lot of pitches, works the count. I know Joe Girardi likes working the pitching matchups. Those are things that'll stretch out a game, but those visits to the mound, while yes, they have value for both the catcher and the pitcher, the fact that they are unlimited can really drain a game, and the Yankees certainly seem to be a team that takes advantage of those unlimited timeouts.
2 down swinging, 1 away in the first.
We'll take a look at what is behind Luis Cessa today in this Yankees defense. Hicks will be in left, Mason Williams in center, Aaron Judge in right. Torreyes, who had the big night yesterday, both defensively and offensively with the big hit, will be at third. Didi Gregorius back at short. Castro and Tyler Austin will be at first base. Austin Romine, as we mentioned, now behind the plate.
So now Elvis out of our spotlight and up to the plate. It's at 5 straight now, and he swings and misses at strike 1.
I mentioned Tyler Austin playing first base last night. Almost immediately after the game, Chris Carter was designated for assignment. There had been some speculation that the Yankees would be looking to make some changes at first base, whether it be Greg Bird coming back healthy or going outside the organization. But they just, I mean, I'm wondering when they made that decision because it happened so quickly. I wonder if it was even decided before the game was over.
This one blooped first base side, foul ground and out of play. So that's the question, right? Because last night, bottom of the 10th inning, it was a 1-1 game, and the Yankees had a couple of runners on with 1 out, and Carter struck out swinging as he had done twice previously in the game, and the boos, crowd had thinned out, but the boos were uniform and they were loud, and you could sense frustration here in the Bronx over his play. The next batter wins the game, but then within moments he's done. Carter's on his way out. It was interesting, the timing of it, as Andrews sneaks this one through to the right side. That's a base hit. DeShields will round and head to the plate. The throw from Judge is late, and the Rangers score first this afternoon. Andrews extends his hitting streak to 6 games, and he drives in a big run.
Well, Elvis Andrews continues to get it done here for the Rangers by using the entire field. And you see a fastball that was supposed to be elevated. It was out over the plate a little bit more, and Elvis takes the perfect approach. He's got a lot of room on the right side with the second baseman Castro playing up the middle, and when you have Delino DeShields on the bases, this is going to be a run every single time. Nothing Aaron Judge can do, but great job by Elvis Andrews hitting the ball the other way with a runner in scoring position and getting that run in.
And so now he is on and has great speed of his own. We saw that on display last night in that critical 9th inning. And Cessa immediately checks in on him. Adrian Beltre, 274 average. And sitting on 2,962 career hits. And they'll pop this one straight up behind home plate and out of play for strike 1. CJ Nikowski just leaned out the window to wave to the crowd. Nice response, CJ. I know that's always emotional for you to come back.
I'm big around the league, you know, especially here in New York, but people get pretty excited when they look up at the Ranger booth and see me calling a game with the headset on.
Quite the reception.
We mentioned Chris Carter. I mean, he is I think it's kind of a fascinating story, right? Because we talk so much about the game and home runs and strikeouts and lower batting average and how that has become more and more acceptable. Chris Carter hit 41 home runs last year and was designated for assignment by the Brewers, ultimately basically just letting him go after hitting 41 home runs. And he was kind of doing, you know, same thing this year. Wasn't on pace for 41, but the Yankees signed him up for just $3.5 million. That is below the average salary in the major leagues, and it just ended up not working out here. But it's kind of an interesting case study, I think, when we talk about the trend of the game.
Well, he's a fascinating one because of that great power, which everyone covets so much. And, you know, look, you'll live with the strikeouts. Everybody willing to do that now, and we talked about it last night. A guy who struck out over 200 times last year, 213 times several years ago with the Brewers. But he'd cut down on his strikeouts. And not a huge on-base guy. And coming into the game yesterday was a little above 290, but it was a very interesting and swift move made by the Yankees last night. A run is in. Andrus inching off the bag at first, and the 1-2 to Beltre. And he'll pop this one foul again.
And so what becomes interesting now, I think, for Yankee fans is whether it's Tyler Austin who gets the opportunity, whether it be Greg Bird coming back healthy, or if they decide to go outside the organization. I think there are a lot of Yankee fans that would love to see Eric Hosmer in pinstripes. If the Royals would fall out of it, that could be potentially a fit, although they're playing some pretty good baseball right now, and I think there'd be somewhat of an uproar if the Royals ultimately moved their first base star.
Beltre shoots this one up the middle. That drops in. Base hit into center field. Andrus got a good start. He'll head to third. And for Adrian Beltre, hit number 2,963. And that ties him with Wahoo Sam Crawford.
Adrian continuing to get it done here, and this was a pitch that he ended up getting jammed on. As you see that ball finishing just below the barrel, didn't hit it really hard, but he'll take it every single time. This is what Adrian is so good at doing, finding ways to get those base hits even when he doesn't square the baseball up. And the Rangers already swinging the bats much better than they did last night through the entire game. That only run they scored, of course, came on a wild pitch.
Last night, a game dominated by the two starters. Yu Darvish for the Rangers, Masahiro Tanaka for the Yankees. The two combined for 15 innings, 19 strikeouts, and allowed just 5 hits. Now runners on the corners for Rougned Odor. And he comes up empty in strike one. Odor 0 for 4 yesterday with a strikeout. In fact, just 2 hits in his last 24 at bats. Big shift, 3 infielders on the right side. And he'll pop this one foul out of play. The count 0-2. So Beltre with that base hit, now in a tie on the all-time hit list with Sam Crawford. And we talk about a dead ball era hitter. Sam Crawford, a guy who began his big league career in the 1890s. So hard to compare the two. Crawford, I believe Crawford holds the all-time record for triples in Major League history. There's Odor, watches strike 3, and is this second out of the inning.
You would be correct. 309 career triples for Sam Crawford. That is the most all time, to just 97 home runs. Obviously, it was a much different game. You mentioned him starting his career in the late 1800s. 1899 was his rookie year at 19 years old. Finished up in 1917. But it's so cool to sit there and track Adrian Beltre and where he is on the all-time list and who he's actually passing. We get to revisit history a little bit. It's always a lot of fun to dig in.
Did Crawford ever lead the league in home runs? Maybe a couple of times.
He did that one year, 1908. He had 7 long balls. That led the league. He had 16 in 1901. How many of those were inside the Parkers?
Most of them. In fact, that's the point of the triples too. Back when he played, the fences weren't really a concept, right? It was more of an infinite ballpark and outfield. So you hit one to the gap, well, you might just run till you get tired.
And for sold-out games or big games, they would actually let fans sit in the outfield. I don't know, I mean, when the ball came at you, would you have to clear a path? Is it like golf?
Well, probably was. Line shot foul by Gomez, and the count 0-2. Carlos, 260 average. Swinging a real hot bat on the homestand. Everybody cooled off a little bit yesterday. It was just one of those days where if you had a streak going, you felt like you were in a bit of a groove, it was going to take a night off. We went extras yesterday, a 2-1 final with the Yankees prevailing. The 0-2 pitch, and Gomez takes it in the dirt. Elvis with the RBI single this inning brought Delano DeShields home from second base. He's now at third. Beltre followed with a base hit to center field. Takes his lead at first. 1-2 to Gomez. And wide again. Gomez came back off the disabled list to rejoin the team on our last homestand. 5 homers, 14 RBIs in the 7 games since returning from the DL. And this one popped up third base side. Reyes shading the eyes and then just trying to get out of the way. Look out.
Well, this looked like it was going to be trouble. If you sit there and you watch Torreyes, and sometimes position players will fool you a little bit. Right? And they're sitting there looking up at the sun. You feel like, okay, they have a good beat on it. They end up catching the ball. But you watch right here, and you kind of see where he's not moving anymore. And when you see that much sun on his face, you realize he cannot see it. He's doing everything he possibly can. He's got the eye black on. He's got the glasses on. He was using his gloves, so no fault of his. That is just a tough pop-up. You're playing Yankee Stadium this time of day, this time of year, and Torreyes unfortunately unable to get a glove on that one. And for Carlos Gomez, the second life.
Indeed, the 2-2. And swings and misses strike 3. Cessa strikes out the side, but Rangers get the first run of the game.
They do a great job. It's Delano DeShields walk, the Elvis Andrus RBI single, and the Rangers take an early 1-0 lead.
Yankees 40 wins, 31 losses. Mason Williams with the start in center field leading off. Aaron Judge brutally good in this ballpark. Tyler Austin, we talked about him a moment ago at first base, batting 7th.
He'll be going up against Austin Bibbins Dirks, who is making now his 4th start at the big league level. And here is the pitch arsenal. It's the fastball, not overpowering, sits right around 91 miles an hour, but he uses those different arm angles, not afraid to drop down on both the fastball and the slider. You see that one around 87 miles an hour. That is the secondary, or first, I should say secondary pitch that he goes to. And that's also the curveball and the change. Austin will mix and match, doesn't fall into too many consistent habits, likes to keep hitters off balance. That's the name of the game. And as we mentioned in the open, really trying to get hitters to hit that top half of the ball. When he's keeping it on the ground, that gives him that opportunity to get deep into a game.
Well, his first offering today, up and away to Mason Williams. Played in the last 4 games. Stretch, I made 3 straight starts in center field, but limited time, 2 for 9 as a Yankee with an RBI. He's ahead here, 2-0. Was down at AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre, recalled in mid-June, June 16th. Not hitting for a high average down to Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Has some speed when he gets on the bases and is ahead here, 3 balls and no strikes. Mason Williams, not a real familiar name, but did play a combined 20 games with the Yankees over the previous 2 seasons. In his debut in June of 2015 at Baltimore. And in that debut, hit a 2-run homer off of Aldo Jimenez. And here he walks on 4 straight pitches.
Let's take a look at the Ranger defense today, which is delivered to you by Chicken Express. It's Delano DeShields in left, Carlos Gomez, Shin Soo Ju in right, Adrian Beltre at third, and Pete Cosma playing short today. Ruben Odor at second, Mike Napoli at first, and Robinson Chirinos behind the plate today. Austin Dickens-Dirks.
Well, it's a 1-0 start. Rangers got their run thanks in part to a leadoff walk and a stolen base. Yankees get a leadoff walk in their half of the first. Williams with the lead at first base, not going anywhere, and Aaron Hicks takes strike 1.
It's only been, this is the 24th game played at the big league level for Mason Williams, but he has no stolen bases, no caught stealing. He's yet to steal a base at the big league level.
It's a decent lead. Napoli holds him. And that one off the plate. 1-1 to Aaron Hicks. Now, Austin Bibbins-Dirks, we have enjoyed his successes so much. The 8 games in which he has appeared, a 2-0 record, 4.25 earned run average. And a lot of his success he would attribute to throwing strikes, just not walking hitters, which was unusual to see him walk Williams to start the game on 4 pitches nonetheless.
You wonder a little bit. Remember that Washington game? It was a home run, a base hit to start off the game before he rattled off those 19 in a row. So it could be about just getting settled in and getting comfortable. Certainly not uncommon among starting pitchers, especially guys that are early in their big league careers.
Hicks takes a strike ride on the corner, and it's 1-2.
Now, I mentioned Mason Williams not running very often, but the AAA level, he was 12 for 15 when he was at Scranton this year in the 60 games or 59 games that he played there. So certainly somebody that you have to keep an eye on.
That is largely the weapon that he brings. Guy who can run a little bit, so he takes another decent lead. And he's going. The 1-2 pitch, check swing. Throw down to second base, a good one. The tag, missed him. And Williams with his first stolen base. Well, there was a second there. I thought Chirinos got that one off quickly enough that they were going to gun him down.
I thought the same thing, and I think it was because the throw was in the dirt, which was a great pick here by Pete Cosma. But you're going to see there that the tag ends up being a little bit late. If that throw was in the air and on the bag, I mean, you're asking for a perfect throw. But I think if you get him that perfect throw, it's probably going to nail him. But I think the short hop is what allowed Mason Williams to sneak in there.
So the Yankees, following the same script that the Rangers laid out in their half of the first inning. Williams in scoring position. 2-2 pitch to Hicks. Wow. It's a full count.
I mentioned Williams being a pretty good runner. Got number 1 under his belt and just 1,405 to catch Ricky Henderson.
It's the very beginnings for him. It does sound like a long way to go, though, doesn't it? Ooh. 3-2 pitch. And this one popped up. Playable near first base. Lee puts it away, and that is out number 1.
Well, this is going to be one of those days where infielders and outfielders are going to have to be helping each other with these pop-ups. You don't make any assumptions when you have the high sun that you do, as you see Robinson Chirinos going out and then Mike Napoli ultimately coming over and making this play. And as much as I mentioned the ground balls and how important that is to Austin Bivens, it's really just more about keeping guys off balance. And so even though that was an 89-mile-an-hour fastball, Aaron Hicks was out front just a little bit, got him out on his front foot, and he was able to pop that ball up. And that really is the bigger name of the game, is just keeping guys off balance. As we see Aaron Judge stepping in, Yu Darvish did a great job of that last night with this big right-handed hitter.
Bivens Dirks. The first pitch popped up into center field. Gomez is there. 2 away.
And a little tomfoolery there by Carlos Gomez on the pop-up I just mentioned, right? Tough to see right now. Could be a little bit of an issue as you're going to see this pitch here. Aaron Judge comes out swinging right away at a slider and catches it off the end of that. Watch Carlos Gomez. Hands out. Hey, where's the ball? I can't see it. Trying to get Mason Williams, the youngster, maybe to go off the bag and start taking a bigger lead and thinking, well, if that drops, maybe I can try to score on that ball. And then Carlos is thinking, man, if I can get in, fall for that a little bit, I'll throw behind him and we'll be out of this inning. But Mason Williams not having it.
Well, that's a huge out for Bivens Dirks to get Judge on 1 pitch. Now Matt Holliday, and he'll lift his pitch into the air. High out to right field. Chu back to the wall. And he makes the catch. And that inning is over. So they leave Williams out in scoring position. Rangers lead by 1. Friendly reminder, Saturday, July 8th, Rangers and Angels at a Globe Life Park, an 8:05 game, but we're going retro. Turn back the clock night. First 15,000 fans 14 and older. One of those Mike Napoli powder blue replica jerseys, courtesy of Fox Sports Southwest and Southwest Airlines. You can get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Mike Napoli will lead off this second inning. Takes one away inside from Sessa. Well, Luis Sessa, he gave up the run in the first inning, but was ahead of everybody. He just was pumping in strikes, and evens account here at 1-1 on Napoli. I think he went 0-2 on all but one hitter, and he went 1-2 to him.
Well, of course, his career, and it's been a young career, 60% strikes for him. Has a little bit of an issue, actually, has had an issue with first pitch strikes, are a little bit below league average at 56% of the time. But again, you expect certain things from young pitchers sometimes, but I think the message gets across pretty quickly when you're trying to break through a big league rotation, especially here in New York, that you better be throwing strikes or you're just not going to last very long. The patience here, this organization, this fan base is shorter than most.
Well, he evens it now at 2-2 on Napoli. And Napoli swings and misses. Sessa has recorded 4 outs, all 4 on strikeouts. 1 away, and Robinson Chirinos has a start today. This is what he did Thursday in his start. Yep.
He's done it all year. It has been a lot of fun to watch Robinson Chirinos, the power that he has shown in those inconsistent at-bats, being the backup catcher, but it really has been a non-issue. Not an easy thing to do either. You see the 9 home runs in just 29 games. I often say with backup catchers, they can do one of 2 things. They can either catch or they can hit, and more often than not, they can catch. They're more of a, we use the phrase, catch and throw guy for your backup catcher. Most teams prefer to have that kind of defensive catcher, but Robinson Chirinos is doing both.
Oh, and it was not just the home run on Thursday. Had a couple of doubles as well. And it's just been, it's one of those things, every time you think like, well, it's been a pretty crazy run, surely he'll settle into a more realistic rate of hitting home runs and that sort of thing. But it seems like every start he gets, he comes up with one of those real big hits. 9 home runs. .239 batting average. But he's in a hole here, a ball and 2 strikes. Sessa took a moment to reset. And now the pitch. And there's a swing and a miss. 5 strikeouts for Sessa. Hey, Fox Sports Southwest and the Texas Rangers want you to celebrate summer with Summer Ticket Days. You get seats in the Cholula all-you-can-eat porch for just $34. Log on to TexasRangers.com/specials and use the coupon code FSSW Summer.
It's a lot of letters.
It is a lot of letters, a lot of consonants.
You should have just kept spelling out summer. That would have been great.
FSSWSUMMER. There's a liner foul by Cosma for strike 1. Forward slash. Cosma gets the start today at shortstop. Done a good job filling in defensively on the left side of the infield on a handful of occasions this year. Waves and misses, the count 0-2. You're talking about catch and throw guys for catchers. And sometimes there are guys, a guy like Cosma, who is valued much more for his glove defensively than his bat. But don't be fooled, the numbers aren't good this year. He can hit. And he takes strike 3 called, and Luis Sessa with 6 strikeouts in the first 2 innings. My goodness. Vince Dirks, tonight's or this afternoon's TXU Energy power player to watch. Starlin Castro, how about these American League ranks? 29 multi-hit games. And up there with 91 hits. The average 7th best in the league, and he's hit for power. 12 home runs this year for Starlin Castro as well. It's been a great year for the Yankees second baseman.
And a great opportunity for him as well here with the New York Yankees. He was not going to play. We mentioned it last night very much. I don't know where those at-bats would have come from for him once the Cubs, of course, signed Ben Zobrist and Javi Baez there as well. Just lots of different options. And so Castro was moved, and I got to believe he's pretty thankful for that. He's done a very nice job here in New York.
He steps out for a moment. Bibbins Dirks walked the first man he saw in the first inning and then got 3 outs all in the air. And this ball hit in the air out to center field, and that one drops in. A base hit for Castro.
We'll see here. Chirinos wanted the fastball up and in. It was down a little bit more and caught a little bit more of the plate than he probably wanted it. We talked about how hot Castro has been most of this year, and he gets a fastball over the middle of the plate. And it's unlikely the way he's been swinging it that he's going to miss it. He did not.
Castro with 1 stolen base. Yankees have not been quite as aggressive as, let's say, the Rangers have been on the bases this year. Didi Gregorius swings and misses at strike 1. Gregorius at .313 coming in. Last night, our game didn't get started until a little bit later. We had a rain delay of 1 hour and 42 minutes. It was overcast all afternoon, rained several times during the game.
Hardly noticed.
And didn't finish until late. Now today, there's not a cloud in the sky. Very high skies. A quick toss down to first. Castro in there. Very bright sun. You see everybody. I mean, the fielders, of course. But as you look at even Gregorius at the plate, everybody wearing the shades just to help pick up the baseball and keep that sun out of their eyes. I would think as a hitter it would be more difficult, a little bit distracting to wear sunglasses.
I've always felt the same thing, but there's a lot of guys that do it. They're obviously very comfortable doing it. You see Didi Gregorius with the shades on right now, but I'm with you, man. I get distracted easily. I think I feel like I'd see that piece in the middle of the glasses, and I'd be looking more at that than with the actual baseball.
I'll confirm you are easily distracted.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
1 and 2 on Gregorius.
Now, Gregorius is a very good low fastball hitter. That's where his strength has been this year. The batting averages against a right-handed fastballs down in the zone are good, but you think about Austin, and with his style of pitching, he's not necessarily going to elevate very often. He can when he throws that fastball or even goes the slider there. The idea of going bottom of the zone with it is probably a better fit, trying to get Didi to chase something out of the zone as he's trying to get that ground ball. It's not to say he can't elevate. We watched Kyle Hendricks last year, a guy who sits at 88 miles an hour, elevate his two-seam fastball pretty often. It's just a matter of when you pick those spots, setting it up and figuring out when the right time is to do it.
2-2. And Gregorius stays alive. Well, for Gregorius, it's been a big month for him. 5 home runs in the 20 games he has played. Best he has ever done, 6 home runs in a month, so he's bumping right up on that as we get into the final week of June. Infield a double play depth. Castro with a small lead at first. Nobody out here in the bottom of the second inning, and Bibbins Dirks concerned about the station of Castro. Everybody ready again. Return foul. Look out. Got into the Yankees dugout quickly. Bounced all the way back out to the mound. For Bibbins Dirks, his 4th start in the big leagues. 32-year-old right-hander has also pitched 5 times out of the bullpen for the Rangers. Signed last year, just a smidge over a year ago, out of the Independent Atlantic League. And his 2-2 pitch. There's a swing, and that one lifted into center field. Gomez goes back. Appears to have plenty of room. Positions himself well to make the catch, one away. And Castro has to hold first base.
Well, I know Dave Raymond is excited about this. It is the Game of Thrones night. And the Rangers are excited to bring you the first ever Game of Thrones theme night. That's going to be on Wednesday, July 8th, when the Rangers take on the Red Sox. This ticket comes with a limited edition House Bannister bobblehead. Plus, take your picture on the Iron Throne. Tickets must be purchased through TexasRangers.com/Game of Thrones. Or just GOT, right? If you're a regular watcher. I've seen that. Little O.
Yeah, little O.
Big right. G, little O, big T.
You are so current.
I'm on it.
Castro at first, 1 out. And here's Tyler Austin. Roster move made late last night, or maybe better said early this morning. Right at the conclusion of last night's game. The announcement made, Chris Carter out and Tyler Austin in. Austin, it's kind of a hot hand play. You see the numbers overall. That's Scranton Wilkes-Barre for him. 3 home runs and 11 RBIs in the last 4 games.
Now, do you think he knew before? Do you think the Yankees made that decision early? What do you think about him getting here in time? As Scranton Wilkes-Barre is not that far, you can certainly drive it.
Well, you know better than I, but it seems like that's usually the case, right?
Yes and no. I mean, they want to be so careful with information that gets out. So let's just say he did know. He can't tell anybody until they inform Chris Carter that he was designated for assignment. Otherwise, the speculation starts to begin a little bit, and certainly around here, a lot of writers are well connected.
Well, he strikes out swinging for the 2nd out of the inning. First strikeout today for Austin Bibbins Dirks.
You see, getting ahead and then using the slider off the plate, tightening that up. Good looking pitch. That's where, in Austin, again, not a big strikeout guy, but that's where he can use it against righties. We saw him strike out the great Miguel Cabrera, get ahead, sweep the slider a little bit, change the arm angle. He can absolutely do that to some good right-handed hitters.
2 away, man at first for Torreyes rather.
Yeah. So here's a little helpful hint for you. No, listen, we all have the ones that we struggle with, right?
Do. I'll take
so
it.
Just go ahead and take the TOR away and look at it.
Just look at Reyes.
Then you got a Reyes, just like Dennis Reyes. Torreyes. You say Torreyes, I say Torreyes. What were you saying?
Well, I've given it about 3 or 4 different pronunciations. This one popped up behind the plate. Chirinos, he might have room. Almost.
Looked like he had a shot, depending on how you were looking at it. You see him smiling there. Now that could have been a little bit dangerous, where if he pushes the net because he can reach it, he actually poked his ball a little bit forward. Watch this right here. It's like, yeah. But that actually was on the other side of the net. I mean, that thing. But you know, if he gets his glove and the ball there at the same time, he could actually shoot that a little bit toward those fans. I don't think they would have gotten their hands up quick enough in time to catch that ball.
Man, that was really close.
Yes, it was.
Castro with a small lead. And a pitch upstairs. Torreyes last night had the game winner. Bottom of the 10th inning with 2 out. Single to center field. It brought home Gary Sanchez with a winning run, 10-1 in 10 innings. His 15th RBI of the season. Hits this ball high in the air, out to left field. DeShields into that corner, and he makes the catch. Inning over. Austin Bibbins Dirks using every inch of Yankee Stadium this afternoon.
Score 1-0, and now it's time to get to our Kubota Power Stats. Let's check this out today. What are we looking at? We're looking at the Yankee starters and what they have done over their last 16 home games. You see the 9-3 record, the really good ERA, the excellent opponent's batting average against, and how about that? They've allowed more than 2 runs only twice recently at home. So that's some good news here for the Yankees. Now they still probably have to address their rotation, I think, at some point if they're serious about trying to make a deep postseason run. But as of late, their starters have thrown the ball exceptionally well here in Yankee Stadium.
Good news for you, Meat. That run of 2 earned runs allowed by a starter
going down.
It's going down today. 1 run already in against Sessa, and all he has done is strike out 6 in the first 2 innings. He's been pretty good after that leadoff walk. He gave up a couple of base hits, one of them by Andrus, able to get DeShields home. And look at that, an 0-2 count to everybody. Almost
9 of 10, including this one right here against Delino DeShields. That is unbelievably impressive. Well, you think about trying to get to 1-2 on most hitters, and we've talked about that all the time. 2-1 versus 1-2. Always the goal within the first 3 pitches, but he is doing even better than that, putting all of these Rangers hitters in some very defensive counts within 2 pitches.
That one just missed. It's 2-2. Sessa, 25 years old, and he's working on extended rest today. 5 days of rest for him. Recalled a couple of weeks ago from Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Actually, about a week ago. A little bouncer, third base side. Reyes in time at first base, and that one might deserve a second look. With DeShields, you can never assume that they indeed got him.
No, and Jeff Bannister put the hand up right away and said, let me get my 10 seconds to take a look here. And it's hard to see the ball on that one. That was really, really close. But you're right. Anytime Delino was running, you got to at least take a look at it. Jeff Bannister has decided to not challenge. And Delino will make his way back to the dugout.
Well, there's no such thing as a routine ground ball with him at the plate.
See, this is a nice look right here. Ooh, yeah, they barely got him.
Heck of a call by Trip Gibson, the first base umpire. As now Chu takes ball 1 from Sessa. Chu struck out in the first inning. 0 for 1. Of course, that put out just a moment ago with DeShields. That's the first time that the Yankees have recorded an out by some other method than a strikeout. Sessa now second time through the order, and he falls behind Chu, 2-1. He works with some pretty good tempo.
I was just thinking the same thing, right? We look at these pace stats all the time, and he is right back on the rubber, no walking around in between pitches. You know, the fielders certainly appreciate that, but he's gotten into a groove here very early. Now, we like watching a game that works like that, but at the same time, now if you're the Rangers, you don't want this guy getting too settled in, right? 6 strikeouts through 2 1/3, and he's working quickly and he's locked in. A lot of times you're going to see hitters step out, try to slow him down, disrupt that rhythm a little bit.
Oh, and a breaking ball swung out and missed. 2 strikes out, 2 away in the 3rd. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's send it back to Dana Larson. Yeah, some great baseball right now out in the National League West. Fun to see the hot teams, those top teams in the West, getting together for some head-to-head play too right now. As first pitch a strike to Andrus, who has the RBI single in this thing, has provided the only offense in the game for either team. And he's in a hole 0-2. Almost wastes no time though. Climbs right back in. The 2-strike pitch. That's high. Fans here at Yankee Stadium starting to I think, appreciate what they're seeing from Sessa in anticipation of maybe additional strikeouts. This ball hit sharply down to third base. Torres with time, and he completes the putout, and it's another 1-2-3 inning for Sessa. We go to the last of the third, 1-0 Rangers.
By score 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the third. Austin Bibens-Dirks back out, making his 4th start of his major league career. Talked to Austin yesterday about this roller coaster ride he's been on for the last 6 weeks. Asked him if, when he was called up 6 weeks ago, did you ever imagine you'd be starting at Yankee Stadium? He said, no, I never let myself go there. I'm enjoying every step of this ride. Pitching in Fenway Park was unbelievable. Pitching here will be great, but I've just tried to take it 24 hours at a time and try not to get too ahead of myself. But guys, his story is one that I think would make impress even Cinderella. It's been truly a whirlwind for Austin.
And I've heard she's pretty tough to impress, but I'm with you. I think that she would be impressed by the story. It's fun to talk to him too, right? I mean, think about getting to the big leagues at 32 years old, the passion, the excitement.
Well, he gets a ground ball to third base. Beltre with a strong throw, and Austin Romine retired to start the third.
Here's what I really found pretty fascinating. I sat down and did an interview with Austin for the Dodgers, or for the Dodgers, with the Rangers, right? Yeah. Sorry, we were just talking about the Dodgers. The Rangers Insider show, and he was talking about this past offseason and his opportunities. And he had an opportunity to go to Taiwan. And if you haven't been to the big leagues and you've been in the minor leagues for a while, it's not a bad idea. You can make some decent money over there, and certainly not a bad career path. I did it toward the end of my career, start playing in Asia, and not a bad way to go. But the Rangers wanted him back. They talked him into taking the deal. But what was so fascinating about that, you won't see this too often, where you have a chance to go to Asia, make some decent money, or come back and sign with a big league team or a big league organization, but not have an invite to spring training.
Right.
I mean, that's the kicker. Right? It's one thing to say, okay, we know, hey, we'll bring you to camp. You never know what's going to happen. You can kind of seal, maybe, you know, have a good spring, and maybe I surprise some people and find myself on an opening day roster. Well, there wasn't even an invite to spring training, which isn't always the greatest of signs. But Austin and his wife decided, you know what, let's do this. Let's give it one more shot here, at least one more shot here in the States with the Rangers. And he grinded it out, and he impressed in spring training. And he certainly has a huge fan in pitching coach Doug Brocail. And now here he is pitching in Yankee Stadium. It's unbelievable. Not only that, we mentioned he's been impact.
Oh, big time. I
mean, what he did against the Washington Nationals, for me, cannot be overstated. I mean, that was such a big start against such a great offense.
It's a 2-0 pitch, and this one shanked foul.
But I think those are things that, you know, people don't think about, the process and all the decisions that you have to make. It's a grind to play this game. It's obviously been one for Austin, and now he's come out on top after a long ride, lots of ups and downs along the way. But even that decision in the offseason, you know, what to do. Take some more guaranteed money and go to Taiwan, or do I go ahead and give it another shot here in the States? And ultimately he decided to stay here, and it's worked out very well.
Yeah, belief in yourself, that's a big part of this game. 32 years old, though. going to spring training without an invitation. And the thing was, even then, spring training, he was brought over just a number of times as a just in case. Should scheduled starter and the scheduled relievers not do well, might need you for an inning or so, kid. And he kept coming over. He kept pitching in those spots, did real well. Jeff Bannister really grew to like his attitude, his style. And we talked about it at the front today. His aggressiveness. I mean, he goes after hitters, doesn't back down. And when the time came, Banny and staff said, you know, what about Austin Bibens-Dirks? Well, here he is. It's been a fun story. It's 2-2. Bouncing ball up the middle. That's a base hit from Mason Williams. The Yankees have a base runner in the third. Well, get a jump start on your Independence Day celebrations this year. Come out to the ballpark on Monday, July 3rd. We're going to celebrate early. A spectacular post-game fireworks show after the Rangers and Red Sox, a 7:05 game. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or give them a call, 972-RANGERS. Now Aaron Hicks, 0 for 1, popped up in the first inning. That was following the Williams walk and then steal of second base. Let's see if Williams tries to stay aggressive this time, now with an out, and pitch to Hicks is ball one. Hicks a .294 average coming in, 10 home runs. Lots of sunshine today. Gorgeous day here in the Bronx. Middle game in our 3-game series. We'll have a day game here again tomorrow. Now tomorrow's game starts an hour later, and that is, as I understand it, CJ, to accommodate the old timers game.
Big deal here in New York.
Will you be pitching?
Have not received that invite yet, despite the 2 months of excellent work that I turned in here with the Yankees. Yeah, for some reason.
What?
I check my mailbox every time right around this year.
This ball hit well out to right field. Chu racing to his right and able to track it down. 2 away.
Or every year around this time, but yeah, hasn't happened yet. I mean, I'm literally here, kind of giving up on that dream.
And now here comes Aaron Judge. Well, big matchup for Bibens-Dirks right here. He got Judge to fly out on the one pitch he saw in the first inning. A breaking ball that Judge hit off the end of his bat for a weak fly ball to center. Judge, very dangerous mountain of a man in that right-handed batter's box.
Now take a look at this with Aaron Judge. We talk about where you can go with your fastball. It becomes very important for Austin to kind of take a look at these numbers. Where has Judge been strong? Now there are some pretty intimidating numbers when you start to look at what he has done to right-handed fastballs across the middle of the plate, up and in, down and in. And if you don't have the overpowering fastball, the idea of really knowing the locations and where you can go and where he will chase. So you see down and away are probably going to be your best spots. If you go in, most likely would be that 2-seamer that is in off the plate, right? One that runs in a little bit, that finishes a ball. That would be a little bit more difficult for Aaron Judge to keep in play, but it's part of the homework. Not even against the hot hitters, but all of them, but especially the ones that have the tremendous power in the middle of the lineup. You want to know where can you go with your fastball, and for Austin that's going to be down and away, and I think in off the plate.
Big swing and a miss makes it 2-1.
That is assuming, of course, if he ever throws him a fastball, which he hasn't done yet in 2 at-bats, which is also, I think, a pretty good approach. You pitch him backwards, show him the slider, show him the cutter, show him the breaking ball, and then use the fastball late. We saw Yu Darvish do that a little bit as well last night. That's a very good approach to a good power hitter.
Judge was 1 for 4 last night. 0 for 1 so far today. Runner goes. The 2-1 pitch is outside. Throw down to second base. A good one. But Williams in ahead of it. Second stolen base of the game. Second of the season.
It goes here on a breaking ball, and that one went a little bit farther away probably than Robinson Chirinos was expecting, so he tried to make up for it by getting rid of this ball as quickly as possible. Not that he's always not trying to do that, but knew that he had to be a little bit quicker after reaching across his body to catch that slider. And another good throw that fell just a little bit short.
Meanwhile, a very advantageous count here for Aaron Judge. 3 balls and a strike. Bivens Dirks gets him to lift this one high in the air to right field. Plenty of room for Chu. And that will do it in the 3rd. Austin Bivens Dirks has put up 3 zeros this afternoon in the Bronx. Baseball is brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer now during the Ford Summer Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. A great day so far for Austin Bivens Dirks. 1-0 our score. And Adrian Beltre leading off this 4th inning. Beltre with a base hit in the 1st inning. Pulled him into a tie with Sam Crawford on the all-time hit list. He's just 37 short of 3,000 now. And it's been a real consistent march toward that number. He's come off the disabled list and has been very good with the bat as he takes a strike, and it's 2-1. Beltre missed the first 51 games of the year with the injured calf, then jammed his ankle trying to beat out a ball on the infield. 3-1. He's also a very helpful guy. Gives Romine a hand.
He's never afraid to lend that hand also on his check swings, and he'll call down to the first base umpire, ask him to take a look. Gets everybody involved. Just a giving guy.
Waits on a 3-1. That's a full count. Now, when he jammed his ankle, that was on June 6th against the Mets, and was out of the lineup for a couple of days. Almost got himself pretty good on that one. But since coming back, numbers have dipped a little bit. A .213 average, and now what is a 13-game stretch since having to play on that hurt ankle. Checks his swing and takes ball 4. So Beltre with a leadoff walk in the 4th inning. And a good start to the 4th for the Rangers. Well, Cesar recorded a strikeout for 7 of the first 8 outs he recorded today. Guy making just his 2nd start of the year, his 3rd overall appearance with the Yankees. Was on the Yankees opening day roster last year. Sessa went 4-4 with a .435 earned run average in 9 starts and 8 relief appearances. And he gets Odor to chase strike 1. Rookie went down looking in the first inning. He was hitless last night. Odor, we mentioned it earlier, and it's been a struggle for him. Had a phenomenal opening day game in which he hit 2 home runs. Has had a difficult time stringing together a number of consecutive games where things have gone well for him. Bounces it to second, and Castro Gregorius turned that into an out at second base. But good hustle by Odor.
And that's the one thing I think I've really noticed about Rougned Odor. Even when he's struggling offensively, you never see him mail it in. You never see him dog it at all. This ball was pretty well hit, and you're thinking off the bat probably an automatic double play, but Rougned does a great job of getting out of the box quickly, getting down the line, and making sure that that's not a double play. And it's not the at bat that he wanted to have, but you don't see any quit in his game. I think that's been extremely important as he goes through some of the struggles offensively, that he continues to grind out both defensively, both running the bases, everything else that's going on, and part of him as a baseball player.
And you might see him attempt a steal here against Sessa. Odor with 6 stolen bases this year. Gomez had a tough night last night. Struck out in the first inning today, and he takes the strike. It's 1-1.
Almost looked like Carlos was taking all the way on that pitch as he started to kind of stand up a little bit early, and thought he might have bought himself a ball as that ball was right on the corner, but call from Kerwin Danley goes strike.
Another look over at first on Odor. Well, the Rangers got their run in the first inning. It was a walk, a stolen base by DeShields. Andrews eventually brought him home with a base hit to center. But Luis Sessa has settled in a little bit. And it is 1-2 now on Gomez. Sessa just 25 years old. He was signed as an infielder, and after a couple of years of trying to hit, he decided, well, maybe it'd be easier on the other side. In 2011 became a pitcher. This ball well hit out to left field, carrying toward the wall, and it is gone. Carlos Gomez is homered again. A 2-run shot, and the Rangers lead 3-0.
And just like you predicted, the run of 2 earned runs or fewer are over for these Yankee starters, but more importantly for the Rangers. Carlos Gomez cashing in, gets an opportunity to really get Luis Sessa off of his game. He's been so good so far here today. Check out this pitch. You're going to see it end up sitting in the middle of the plate. It was supposed to be down and away, a little slider. And Carlos was all over it. Hammers that ball to left field. That's a bomb here.
Well, Gomez's 10th home run of the year, and a 3-0 start for the Rangers. Here's Mike Napoli, and he pops this one up. First base side, Austin drifting back, but it's the second baseman Castro who swings over to make the play, and there are 2 away.
That was no easy play for Stalin Castro, who was shaded over near second base. Look where he is, actually in the shortstop side of second base, and look how long he has to run to get this ball. Tyler Austin wanted no part of it. He wasn't anywhere near it. He was looking for Castro to come bail him out, and he did.
So base is empty now for Robinson Chirinos, and he's swinging at the first pitch, fouls it right back toward us. In fact,
Oh my!
Almost had a play on that.
If you stood up, you would have had it. I was filling out my F4, my scorecard, as you said the ball was coming toward us. I'm like, well, it's pretty tough to get a foul ball in here. I'm not even going to look up. And then I did. And if you were standing up, Dave, you would have been able to get that.
I had a chance. It disappeared from our view entirely. Got way up above the deck on top of us. And it crossed my mind. Might come right back down.
It was right here.
And
the ball was right there.
Hit on that concourse. Give us a chance. And it did.
Well, disappointed. We haven't had one in the booth yet. I know I've talked about being a little bit nervous, a little scared about how quickly they are. Come in the booth. I like keeping track of all my stuff here. Got my head down probably more than I should.
The swing and a miss by Chirinos. It's 2-2. And Sessa, his last strikeout was of Chu in the 3rd inning. So he was on a crazy tear there to start the game. His 2-2. And that misses. A full count now.
We mentioned how the home runs have been an issue for Sessa. We talked about in the open and figuring there's a good chance that the Rangers would be able to cash in on some of that, and it's good to see Carlos Gomez be the first of hopefully what will be maybe a couple today. $18 home runs allowed in his 77 innings coming into today.
He picks up his 8th strikeout of the afternoon as he punches out Chirinos.
Well, it was a big one here from Carlos Gomez. A little slider hung up in the zone, pounded to left field, and the Rangers comfortable right now with a 3-0 lead.
Here in the Bronx, this is game 2 of a 3-game set between these two teams, and the Rangers take that 3-0 lead thanks to our State Farm winning combination, Carlos Gomez, who has been on fire since he came off of the DL. That 2-run shot in the top of the 4th to extend the Rangers lead to 3-0. The numbers since he's come back off the DL, 7+ games, 7 home runs now, 6 home runs. 6 home runs, 16 RBIs in 7+ games. Whatever the numbers are, guys, they are ridiculously good. Carlos Gomez says he finally feels like he's himself. He feels so comfortable here, and what a difference a year has made. He said he felt like when he was in Houston, he was playing against himself, against his opponent, and against his team. He said nothing felt right there, and everything feels right here. So the State Farm winning combination for Mr. Gomez is hitting good and feeling good all at the same time.
Yeah, easy to lose track of the numbers because they are on the move with each passing moment. He has just been fantastic since coming back last weekend.
I mean, really, he's been very good ever since he put this Ranger uniform on. I mean, that's the big one. You start looking at what he has done coming into this game. a .270 batting average. You see what he's done since he's been back from the DL. I mean, just absolutely crushing it. It is 6 home runs with 16 RBIs, but just overall in this Texas Rangers uniform, today will be his 79th game that he's had here with the Rangers. .270, 17 bombs overall. It's just been a very good hitter. Right, that was the talk, of course, that we had going into the season. Maybe some better offers and better money to be made, but he just liked it here. He was comfortable here, and so he's back on a 1-year deal, and the Rangers were thrilled with that, and now thrilled that he is healthy and contributing the way that he is.
2-2 to Matt Holliday, and he strikes out swinging, and that's how we begin the bottom of the 4th.
This is a nice strikeout for Austin as he gets ahead of Matt Holliday, drops the arm a little bit, gives him a little bit of a different look, and so that fastball comes in. When he drops his arm like that, it'll come in a little bit of a different angle, different movement on it as well, and Holliday was unable to catch up.
So 2 strikeouts today for Bibbins Dirks. Now Starlin Castro, who has one of the Yankees' 2 hits today. Castro had the single to lead off the 2nd inning. Talked a little earlier about some of the numbers that he's put up this year. It's just been a huge year for Castro. And that'll even the count at 1-1. Castro very highly thought of when he was in the Cubs system. Came up with the Cubs in 2010. Started to flash some power the next year. Was double digits in home runs every year with Chicago. Bounces this one to shortstop. Cosma with time, and there, 2 away.
Well, you know what's coming, Dave. It's baseball's biggest summer event. You got to catch the biggest stars at the 88th MLB All-Star Game. That's going to be presented by MasterCard. That's going to be on Fox on July 11th. Coverage will begin at 6:30 p.m. Central. Gotta believe we'll see Aaron Judge there. Did I hear this correctly, that Joey Gallo confirmed he was asked to participate in the home run derby? Did you hear that? Did I make that up?
No, I mean, listen,
I think I heard it.
A good portion of it, but I don't know.
I heard it somewhere that he said yes. He's been invited, but no decisions have been made.
Fly ball to left field, and that ends a quick 4th inning for Bibbins Dirks. Go to the 5th. Join Positive Coaching Alliance Tuesday, June 21st for their Putt Putt for PCA fundraising event presented by Insperity. If you believe in a positive character building experience for youth and high school athletes, well, join PCA on the 27th and help create better athletes and better people across North Texas. Go to pcanorthtexas.org to learn more. Bibbins-Dirks doing a nice job so far this afternoon. See if his offense can give him any more support here with the 5th. Pete Kozma leading it off and takes strike 1 from Sessa. Kozma struck out in the 2nd inning. And watches ball 1. To answer your question last inning, I don't think Gallo has been formally approached yet about the home run derby. I think he has preemptively said if asked he would likely decline it. As this one comes in and grazes Kozma, Rangers have the lead man on again. That's a 3rd inning in these first 5 in which the lead man has reached.
Let's take a look at our AT&T high-speed replay as Delino DeShields comes to the plate. It's going to be about Delino DeShields, the walk, and then the stolen base gets himself into scoring position so that Elvis Andrus can get on top of a fastball, drive it into right field, and drive in the speedy Delino DeShields, and that's why that is our AT&T high-speed replay. So I think he was asked this week on Bad Radio, local there, of course, here in Dallas on the ticket. And they were asking him about the home run derby, maybe speaking in hypotheticals, but he did say that he hasn't decided yet. It makes me think maybe the invitation was extended. Either way, but he said he's leaning toward not doing it. This is his first full year in the big leagues, and he's not an attention guy, not a big publicity guy. So he's saying probably not for him. So we will see. But it would be a lot of fun to watch him and Aaron Judge go at it. I do like the new format of the home run derby. I think they cleaned that up a little bit. Made it a much more watchable event. For sure. For a while. It was tough. I mean, we got to be honest. They got too long. Now that there's actual time limits and it's head to head. We love head to head in this country. We love the NCAA tournament. We love the way the college football playoff system now works, right? Head to head. So they do that now in the home run derby.
This one hit out toward the right field corner, but Judge able to track it down quickly. DeShields, pardon me, Kozma able to get back quickly. DeShields out, 1 away. Well, off the bat, you're thinking that one might have a chance to drop in.
You never know here in Yankee Stadium. The ball had a little bit of carry on it as well, and so I started thinking, would this get over Aaron Judge's head? And he was a receiver in high school, and you could see him kind of tracking that one down like any good receiver would with good closing speed. He's been good defensively. That's the other thing. We talk about the power and the batting average and the all-around offensive prowess of Aaron Judge, but he has shown up in highlight reels and has done a very nice job. He's shown off the arm. He's got a good one. It's been accurate. We are seeing an all-around legitimate superstar here so far in what is almost the first half of the season in Aaron Judge.
He seems to shrink an already small right field here at Yankee Stadium. Kozma at first. Chu batting 0 for 2 today with a couple of strikeouts. And he takes ball 1. So already some activity for the Yankees in their pen here in the 5th.
Jonathan Holder now up. Right-hander has done a pretty nice hot job here for Joe Girardi. A middle relief guy. Good arm.
Ooh, Minor, second base, and this one thrown back to first. Kozma got back there. Austin couldn't hold on to it.
It looked like he had a little bit of a collision here as far as his left hand and Pete Kozma as that ball was getting there. Starlin Castro was having a hard time getting this ball out of his glove. You see Tyler Austin like, nope, I'm fine. Just got back to the big leagues. I'm fine. Don't worry about it. But here's the line drive. Now watch Castro as he stays flat-footed. Oh, it was a little bit of a hesitation, just kind of making sure that Tyler Austin was in place. But there was 0 steps on that throw, right? Almost like he was turning a double play. And he ended up throwing that ball kind of close to Pete Kozma, so there was a little bit of a collision. But like I said, you get called up. Yeah, I mean, listen, you still get paid when you're on the DL, but you don't get to play. So you take no chances and you play at about, I don't know, I'd put it as low as 65%.
Probably.
You're still going to go out there. But watch the throw here as it kind of gets to Kozma as Tyler Austin is reaching out at the same time. And you see that play happen a lot of times the other way around, right? Whereas a player, as he's running toward first base, that throw maybe comes on a bunt or from a pitcher where you worry about that a little bit of a collision. It seems like Austin is okay.
So now 2 away. And Elvis takes ball 1. He drove on a run in the first inning with a base hit, grounded out in the 3rd. Andrews now with a 6-game hitting streak. You take it a little deeper. He's in a stretch now of a little better than 3 weeks where he's batting well in excess of 300. It hits this ball on the ground to short. Diving stop, Gregorius back to second. And they just do get Cosma for the force out. What a nice play by Didi Gregorius going to his right. So the inning is done.
Didi Gregorius ranging far to his right, full extension from one knee as he's falling down. Great throw to get Pete Cosma at second base. Bottom of the 5th inning, and who would not want to take a trip to Margaritaville? Well, there's an opportunity for you to do that Friday, July 7th, when the Rangers host the Angels. There'll be a pregame tailgate party with live music and cold drinks and Margaritaville-inspired Rangers t-shirts. Postgame fireworks will be set to Jimmy Buffett's music, and tickets are available at texasrangers.com/theme nights.
But Tyler Austin, we saw him in the 2nd inning. He struck out. In fact, it was a very short at bat. Bibbins Dirks dispatched of him nicely in that 2nd. Austin has allowed just 3 base runners so far, a walk and 2 hits. And he jumps ahead here 0-2.
Now, Tyler Austin, right coming back to last year, you remember this? Him and Aaron Judge went back-to-back in their debuts, did they not? Does that sound right? You remember that? I think that was the case, yeah. It's the first time that rookies had hit back-to-back home runs for their first home run. It happened a couple of other times, memory serves. Pretty cool moment for those guys.
Yeah, he homered. That was his first at bat in that game against Tampa Bay in mid-August. And it was only the 4th in Yankees history to homer in his first career plate appearance.
Do they have the list there? Don't say any names. No?
No.
Oh.
And Judge did do it in the very next at bat.
That's what it was, yeah. And I remember Dan Pasqua, who grew up in this area.
Sure.
And did it. I can't remember anybody else.
So then that's
Great.
You're pretty much at the list at that point, right? It's just one more missing.
Yeah.
The fact that they
and I
did
could
it
be wrong, of course. I could totally be wrong about Pasqua.
Well, I mean,
that's what 10-year-old me remembers.
it sounds right though for some reason to me. 1-2.
Let's check the Google machine.
Get on there. I know that thing probably knows. We had this back in the homestand though. Tom Grieve, 10-year-old Tom Grieve.
Mm-hmm.
Remembered the inverse of some events and
Really?
vividly. right, vividly. And that is what happens, though. Things sort of get jumbled and recreated over time. Austin waiting on a 2-2. And there's a swing and a miss, and Bibbins Dirks with his third strikeout of the afternoon.
Number 74.
There goes Austin again with that, like a changeup that was actually down over the plate. We'll see it here. Ball comes back a little bit with good movement both across and down. A perfect location.
All right, here's Torres. 0 for 1. And he fouls this one back in direction, but not going to get to us. You don't have to worry, CJ. Stuff's going to be okay. Well, Bibbins Dirks talked about it back in the open. Numbers he has put up on the road this year. This is his 5th game, 2nd start on the road. Was 1-0 with a .260 earned run average, and those numbers improving again today. Goes 1-1 on Torres. Yeah, there you go. Average goes down a little. ERA goes down a little. Innings pitched goes up with his effort today. He hasn't allowed a runner to third base yet.
It was interesting because we were talking about that great Washington Nationals start that Austin had and all the ground outs, 13 in that game. You're thinking, well, that's the key, right? Keep guys off balance, get them to hit the top half of the ball. Well, it's only actually been 2 ground outs today. The rest have been fly outs or strikeouts. And so even though these Yankee hitters are getting the ball up in the air, he's done a nice job of keeping the baseball off the barrel. And a couple of hard hit balls that we did see in the outfield were caught.
You get some nice defense from Adrian Beltre. 2 out here in the 5th inning. Time for us to take a Chevy game break. Let's check in again with Dana Larson.
Austin Romine. Number 27.
All right, thanks, Dana. And the misery for the Giants just continues. 27-49 for San Francisco. Nearly 23 games out in the National League West is Bibbins Dirks. The breaking ball in there for strike 1 to Austin Romine.
I had them as division winners when I looked at them lineup. That rotation 1 through 5 looked really strong. Obviously, Madison Bumgarner missing a bunch of the season because of that dirt bike accident was a big blow to them, but I don't even think that would have made that much of a difference. They have 27 wins, like you mentioned. It's the 2nd worst in baseball, and the Philadelphia Phillies have less. It has been a shockingly awful season for the San Francisco Giants, but yet that division is one of the strongest in baseball. And who would have thought that would have been the case without the Giants actually participating?
No balls, 2 strikes on Romine. No, that has been one of the real amazing stories of the season. I still think, I mean, here we are now, closing in on July. It was about a week away now, and the Milwaukee Brewers are atop the National League Central. The Cubs a game and a half out, the defending world champs. The 0-2, and they couldn't get Romine to go up after that one. Take a look at the standings in the Central. And that, you know, look, it's one thing. The Cubs, you figure ultimately will figure it out. They'll get back up on top, and one would assume, even still today, that it's their division to lose. But Milwaukee, man, 40 wins.
They're doing a nice job. Now, we've seen this before, and it can be a little bit disappointing if you're one of those fan bases. The Minnesota Twins a couple of years ago leading the division for a long time, and then ultimately running out of gas. The Brewers, I want to say 3 years ago, went 5 months where they were in first place, and then the Cardinals finally caught them and put them away. And so it is a marathon in Major League Baseball. Got to go wire to wire, but it's encouraging to see a team like the Milwaukee Brewers, who are holding off, at least for now, the Chicago Cubs. And the Cardinals have been a disappointment this year. The Twins are still hanging in there. They're a game and a half back now.
They hit out to right field for Romine. And the Yankees have a base runner in the 5th inning.
Harmless little 2-out hit here from Austin Romine. As you see that pitch sit in the middle of the plate a little bit.
Mason Williams.
Yankees have Romine at first. Lineup turns over, and Mason Williams, he's been a tough at bat today for Bibbins Dirks. Walked in the first, singled in the third, stole second base both times he got on. Right now, he's the one guy they corner in the dugout and ask him all those questions about what's it like out there at second base.
Yeah.
Does it look different? Swings through strike one. The only Yankees so far to get to second base. And this game has a similar feel to yesterday. Yu Darvish was outstanding. 7 shutout innings, allowed 2 hits, struck out 10. His pitch count was below 80, or rather below 90, but did not come out in the 8th inning. We wondered why. Found out there was a little tightness in his tricep, and they took him out for precautionary reasons last night. He spoke today before the ball game and assured us that it's all good. He's fine.
Yeah, just dealing with that tricep, right? Maybe. I mean, it was the kind of weather too where cramps can be a little bit of an issue. It was really humid. It can get like that here in New York. A little bit better today. Always something to keep an eye on whenever you get into the humidity. But I think it was more about, like you said, precaution and playing it safe with Yu Darvish, who was absolutely dealing. It was really fun to watch him and Tanaka go at it last night.
1 and 2 on Williams.
But as you were also saying and alluding to, which I think was a really good point, was that, and if we're never going to see 2 guys both throw a complete game, like if we're not going to see it in that scenario,
right,
we never see it. They both did an excellent job of keeping their pitch counts down. You see the line there from Darvish, who just dominated a good Yankees lineup with the 2 hits and the 10 strikeouts. No walks, which is always a big one for him. The fastball and slider command were excellent. He mixed in the curveball at the right times, which has been, I think, even more of a weapon for him than we have seen in the past. But it was just a fun game to watch if you like watching pitchers.
This ball hit high in the air to right field. Gomez converging with Chu. Gomez wants it, and he takes it, and the inning is done. We've played 5. The George Washington Bridge. We'll have to find out if they charge tolls for that thing when we come back. Jackpot today, $700 plus dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Rangers hitting today for Robert Juergens of Plano. So if a Ranger hits a home run this inning, Robert wins $700. If the Rangers hit a grand slam, he's in for 25 grand. Pretty awesome. Good luck, Robert. Top of the 6th, Rangers leading 3-0. And Adrian Beltre will lead things off here in the 6th inning. Beltre with a base hit and a walk. Sessa is done. Yankees go to Jonathan Holder in the 6th inning.
Yeah, Holder, you see the numbers in his 30 games. He'll use a fastball that averages around 93 miles an hour. Heavy cutter usage from him, 34%. That pitch is at 87. He'll also mix in the curveball as well.
Holder, the right-hander, to the plate, and that one in there for a strike on Beltre. Beltre earlier today with a base hit. And that tied him once again with another legend of the game, a Hall of Famer, Sam Crawford. Count now 0-2.
Holder's got some pretty drastic splits. Has done a pretty nice job against righties. 240 batting average against 23 strikeouts to 3 walks. That's the good news. The bad news, 429 against lefties. Now Odor right now the only lefty due up this inning. And with the lead here, I doubt we'd see anybody pinch hitting. But the lefties have been a big issue for him this year.
Taking a look at the all-time hits leaders. There you see Beltre tied with Wahoo Sam Crawford, 32nd all-time. Next on the list, Sam Rice. A little better than 20 hits away, and then closing in on number 3,000 with Roberto Clemente. 1-2 pitch, and it's 2-2.
Now I know you know why they call him Wahoo.
Yeah.
I don't think everybody else would know.
From Wahoo, Nebraska. He told the Hall of Fame in 1957 when he was inducted to the Hall of Fame. He said, "You got to put Wahoo Sam on my plaque." This one belted to center field over the head of Williams and up against the fence. Beltre pedaling to second base, and he is in there with a stand-up double. That ball crushed to center field. It's 408 feet to straightaway center. That one right to the base of the fence.
Yeah, as much as we talk about right field being short here, center field plays pretty big, and patented Adrian Beltre as he crushes the baseball, but somehow still ends up on one knee. And this one I thought I had a chance. You see it carrying here, but catching just the base of the wall, just a little bit short. It's incredible. I mean, not that Adrian he doesn't take a lot of ugly swings, but it's more the follow through or things that happen afterwards. He was down on one knee and just hit that ball, what, I don't know, 406 feet?
Yeah.
Or 480 if I look at the StatCast data.
Kind of depends where you get your data.
I kid. 404. I'd actually believe that.
Okay. So he's in scoring position now. And Odor takes one outside. That double was number 598. As Beltre adds in that category as well. Next on the list for him in doubles, Barry Bonds finished his career with 601, so he's only 3 shy of Bonds. And a bender misses in. So talking about Wahoo Sam Crawford, when in 1957 he found out he was in the Hall of Fame, he was living like in a kind of a shack on the edge of the Mojave Desert, did not own a phone, did not believe in telephones and all those modern conveniences. As Odor lifts one high in the air out to right center. Williams has a beat on it, the wind carrying it back, and it's Judge ultimately who grabs it midway on that warning track. And Odor's the first out of the inning.
Wind playing some tricks here on Aaron Judge. As you see him coming in here, as both of these guys will start to come in to go after this baseball. Watch the carry here at the end. I think that threw him off a little bit. We saw Ruben Odor just get under that pitch. You take a look at the flags. The wind is no doubt blowing out to right field right now, especially if you get that ball up in the air pretty high.
So Beltre tagged and moved up to third. The infield comes halfway in, maybe just a little bit tighter even. Gomez, who blasted a home run last time up, takes one in the dirt. And on the appeal, Trip Gibson down at first said no, he went around. That's a strike.
So no iPhone for Sam Crawford.
Yeah, no iPhone, to say the least. He had no phone, nothing. Lived out there in the desert and kind of always lived his life that way. Again, you're talking about a guy whose big league debut came in 1899. A slightly different world in which he grew up, as this one pulled down the left field line foul. 1-2.
Here's Gomez back in the 4th inning. Got a slider that he could handle, put a good swing on it. Not as dramatic as I'd like to see. Right, we're grown accustomed to getting excited about what Carlos Gomez is going to do when he hits his no-doubters. That seemed like a no-doubter to me, but I, based on his reaction, wonder if he wasn't exactly sure.
Strikes out swinging here, 2 out in the 6th inning. Two away, man at 3rd. Hey, download MLB.com at bat today. You get Rangers home screen icons as well as game day, highlights, radio broadcast, statcast news, and truly a whole lot more. MLB.com at bat. Napoli is 0 for 2. Struck out, popped up. And Holder misses outside with ball 1. Beltre doubled to open the inning. He's 90 feet away. Rangers with the 3-0 lead. I love that shot right there. It's 1-1. That same view we just had of Beltre. You get the train off of the distance making its way. Yeah, there you see it. Out over left field.
They did a good job of replicating that. Of course, that was a staple of old Yankee Stadium, where you could always see subway elevated in the background going by Yankee Stadium.
Now that worked out well for you last night, right?
A little bit of an adventure trying to get back to the hotel with my wife and son here. Now we decided no subway. It was a little bit late.
I think that might have been better.
Some of the there's no doubt it would have been better, because I had an absolute disaster with a driver who did not know I was a local and tried to convince me that when we went over the Willis Avenue Park Bridge, there was a toll involved.
Napoli hits this one out to left field. It's carrying well, but just in front of the fence. Hicks puts it away. Inning is over. Rangers leave a man at 3rd. Maybe tonight, CJ. Maybe tonight. The 4-game summary. Austin Bibbins-Dirks with a start in the Bronx.
He's been great today, mixing and matching, especially the slider, mixing in the fastball when it mattered, spotting it well. There's a changeup. Registered one of his strikeouts on the change, but he has been good today, keeping these Yankee hitters off balance. And the great story of Austin Bibbins-Dirks continues. 5 shutout here against a very good New York Yankees lineup, and really now for him and Darvish start combining their outings and what they have done here against the Yankees in the Bronx. Very impressive.
Well, he's got 2, 3, and 4 in the Yankees lineup in the 6th inning, and it is 3rd time through. And he bumps in a strike to Aaron Hicks. It'll be Hicks, Judge, and then Matt Holliday. 3-0 Rangers. They have out hit the Yankees 4-3. And that one just missed. Evens account at a ball and a strike on Hicks, who was popped up and flied out. It's a Yankees team, a Yankees offense that has put up some pretty staggering numbers this year, especially here at home. Bouncer over to the right side. Odor, a couple of steps to his left, and takes care of Hicks for out number 1. Well, tomorrow, the final game in this series. As we take a look at our progressive upcoming schedule, we'll be back out here. Coverage beginning at 12:30 local time. Back home, a 1:05 first pitch, and then it is off after the game to Cleveland for the first of 4 beginning Monday night. Against an Indians team that is, at long last, taking control of the American League Central Division. Folks just kind of waiting for that to happen, but they have finally gotten on top and look poised to probably stay there given the makeup of that ball club.
Yeah, they're the best team on paper without a doubt. And the rotation, when you look at them going into the season, they were far and away maybe one of the deepest rotations in all of Major League Baseball, but certainly in their division in the American League Central. It was a slow start for them trying to get it together. People talking about maybe that World Series hangover is a possibility. You hear about it so often going deep into the postseason. You're shortened off season. Sometimes you don't have the year that you want to have. Mike Napoli, of course, was a part of that team. I got to believe that the Indians fans will be happy to see him, give him a nice ovation when he comes back in as visitor.
This ball hit well, high and deep to left field, and Aaron Judge has just left the building. That's his major league leading 26th home run of the year. And the Yankees are on the board. It's a 3-1 game.
Well, it seemed like it was going to be just a matter of time. So difficult to hold Aaron Judge down, but Austin goes with the fastball. He wanted it elevated, did not quite get it high enough, and at 91 miles an hour and over the middle of the plate, pretty tough to get it by Aaron Judge, who has been good on the fastball, not surprisingly, this season. And when he hits him, it has that Joey Gallo feel, right? As soon as the ball gets in the air, you're always kind of wondering how far will it go. I thought he got that one maybe a little bit better than we originally thought, and as far as how far that ball went. Because remember the one that he hit that actually went over all of the seats there in that left center field gap, but still an impressive home run. 439 feet from Aaron Judge.
A no doubter. One strike pitch now to Matt Holliday. And it is just off the plate. Now, in the first at bat, I have to apologize, CJ. The first at bat for Aaron Judge, Bibbins Dirks did not throw him a fastball. Of course, it was just that. Yeah. It was a slider looped into center field. The second at bat, did he throw him a fastball?
I do not believe he did, no.
So that was the first fastball he had thrown him.
I got to go back and look. I don't think that he did. And it seemed like that was the approach, to go with the off speed, not show him any fastballs because he's a good fastball hitter. But that doesn't mean you don't throw him one at all during the game. I think it's just about setting a guy up for later at bat, trying to keep him off balance. But this certainly was a fastball here. Watch Torino's glove. It's still a pretty good pitch, actually. I take that back, man. I thought he missed down. He didn't miss by much at all. That's where you just tip your cap and you credit the hitter for hitting the pitch that you wanted to throw.
Number 26 of the year for Judge. So 2 out now after the Holiday ground out. Here's Starlin Castro. And he takes ball 1. Castro, a base hit in the second, a ground out in the fourth.
It was all off-speed pitches in the second at bat. 4 sliders and a curveball. Same thing in the first inning where he swung at a first pitch breaking ball. So yes, that was first at bat in which Aaron Judge saw a fastball. He saw one first pitch of that at bat, and then the third. So 2 looks at Austin's fastball, and he was able to square up the second one that he saw. Very quiet, very understated personality. The makings of a legitimate superstar. As much as they have wanted a replacement for Derek Jeter here in the worst way, it's almost unfair to ask for that. It's ridiculous. I mean, the guy's a Hall of Famer.
That's unfair.
When Didi Gregorius came over, right, and well, here's Derek Jeter's replacement. That's completely unfair. You can't do that to a guy when you're talking about trying to replace one of the greatest to ever play the game, to win as many championships as he did. But you can't help but watch Aaron Judge play this game. Listen to him talk. It's a big part of it. The way that he carries himself, and just think to yourself a little bit, you know what? This potentially could be one of those guys. Now, again, unfair to ask him to be Derek Jeter, but he's got the personality, he's got the talent level, he's got the built-in leadership skills, the perspective. Show some guy wearing a red t-shirt. No, of course, we're looking at the Derek Jeter, number 2 there.
Two to Castro. Boy, he didn't miss by much. Bibbit Surks was on his way back to the dugout. It's a full count.
And that's a little bit frustrating. You're grinding. You just let up that home run. Austin has been so great in this game, and you feel like, all right, you know what? I've bounced back. I've made my pitch. The inning's over, and then you don't get the call. Now he's just got to make sure he doesn't. You see him shaking his head a little bit. No, it's bugging him, and it would bother any pitcher. But now it becomes about, all right, get it out of your head now. Bear down and execute a pitch here. Finish this inning.
3-2. And he gets a comebacker. Karams over to short. Kozma, his throw dug out nicely at first base to complete the inning. Thank you, Mike Napoli. Yankees get on the board.
Texas fans, do we have some great news for you. Fox Sports Southwest wants you to show your school spirit at a Texas Rangers game. Get discounted tickets for the Saturday, July 8th game versus the Angels. You also get a free Rangers cap in Longhorn, burnt orange, and white colors while supplies last. Go to texasrangers.com/UT for details.
Well, we're set to go now in the 7th inning. A 3-1 Rangers lead, and Robinson Chirinos to start things off. Chirinos 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. Holder pitched the scoreless 6th inning. Back to work again here. Gave up the leadoff double to Adrian Beltre, but then settled down after that. Fly ball, a couple of fly balls and a strikeout. (2-0). Chirinos, as we talk about every game he starts, generated so much power and production and so few at bats. We saw Carlos Gomez get his 10th home run of the year a little bit earlier. The next one for Chirinos will be his 10th. We'll talk about the depth of this Rangers lineup and start looking at the number of individuals with double-digit home runs on this team. Already 6. Chirinos would be the 7th if he's able to get it. It's way off the plate. 3-1. The damage to date done against Sessa, who went 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, but on just 3 hits, a couple of walks, 8 strikeouts.
There's Carlos Gomez, the big home run that he hit to left field off of Sessa.
And this ball clubbed out to left field, and that one is gone. He's done it again. Robinson Chirinos gets the start behind the plate and hits his 10th home run of the year. 4-1 Rangers.
Absolutely incredible to watch what Robinson Chirinos has done this season. He gets a fastball that he can handle, crushes the ball to left field. That little cheer, Yankee fans throwing the baseball back. One of the dumber traditions in baseball, in my opinion. You get to catch a big league home run, keep it. But how about Robinson Chirinos here, right down the middle? Does a good job getting the barrel of the bat out in front of this pitch. Good extension through it. Drives yet another home run. You mentioned his 10th of the season. Hit 9 last year, 10 2 years ago. 13 is the career high for Robinson Chirinos. It's looking like he'd have a chance to get there this year. It certainly does appear that way.
Gets a couple more starts. Might have it by the All-Star break.
That's a good point.
Now Cosma, who takes a strike from Jonathan Holder. So now 7 Rangers with double-digit home runs. That is depth in a lineup. Consider too that Adrian Beltre just hasn't played enough games to get anywhere close to that yet, but a guy who, healthy, represents every bit as much power as everybody else in that lineup. So kind of psychologically, you could call it 8.
Sure.
In a way, I mean, he'll get there.
And getting it from a couple places that really weren't necessarily expected. I don't think you were expecting 10 out of Robinson Chirinos. Certainly not before the All-Star break. Maybe 10 by the end of the year as Cosmo goes down on strikes. But then also Joey Gallo getting much more playing time than expected when you talked about this team in the offseason, because nobody was anticipating Adrian Beltre missing as much time as he did. And so it's not even just that it's depth, which is great, and a lot of guys doing it, but a couple that really maybe weren't expected to be doing it, certainly not this early in the year.
Well, it's also a big home run too, because it answers the Judge homer in the previous half inning. They got on the board, chipped away at what was a 3-0 Rangers lead at the time. And you come right back and answer it with a home run of your own. That's huge. So 4-1 our score. And with 1 out, top of the order. DeShields has been on once today with a walk. And has scored one of the Rangers 4 runs. That one skips away from Romine. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now that this lineup is healthy again, Beltre back every day, and Carlos Gomez, Mike Napoli back. This one shanked over to the right side, fouling out of play. The casualty once again appears to be Delano DeShields. His starts now are going to come intermittently. He was getting into a groove where he was certainly in the leadoff spot against every left-handed pitcher, and then oftentimes batting 9th against righties, but now it's going to be pick and choose those spots to get him in there. It's this one into the hole, it's short, and a diving stop made by Didi Gregorius. And he got that one just before it got to the dirt. What an amazing catch again, and a second highlight reel play by Gregorius.
He's playing some good defense today. Delano obviously not happy about it, and you're just talking about the infrequency of playing time and trying to get your base hits, and it looked like he might have had one here, but Didi Gregorius had other plans. It does a nice job. It wasn't hit particularly hard, but The timing of it was just right as he catches that ball just before it hits the dirt.
Well, that line out will do it for Jonathan Holder. As the Yankees go to the bullpen. A run across, 2 out. Rangers lead by 3. The event of the summer, the Midsummer Classic. It's going to South Beach this year. Baseball's biggest stars on the field for Major League Baseball's All-Star Game, July 11th, only on Fox.
A new pitcher here for the New York Yankees, making his big league debut. Tyler Webb, you see what he's done here in the minor leagues, and yeah, that jumps out at you a little bit. 47 strikeouts to just 3 walks. Good ERA. He's actually spent the last 3 seasons in Scranton AAA for the Yankees. He's always had a very good strikeout rate over the course of his career. 11.3 strikeouts per 9, 2.4 walks per 9. Very good numbers across the board. Kind of surprising that it's taken him this long to get an opportunity. 26 years old, left-hander. Those kind of strikeouts and walk numbers, it's pretty hard not to find your way to the big leagues when you're throwing from that side.
So big league debut for Tyler Webb. And this one hit out to left field. Hicks ranging to his right makes the play.
See Robinson Chirinos coming through once again. The big home run, the 7th Ranger this season with 10 or more home runs. The Rangers rolling 4-1 here in the Bronx.
Brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more.
A beautiful summer day here in New York City. Rangers leading the Yankees 4-1. Austin Bibens-Dirks back out to pitch for the bottom of the 7th. And yet another roster made for this club today. Martin Perez placed on the 10-day disabled list. Drew Robinson called up to take his spot on the roster. Martin, of course, had that freak accident with a hotel door that fractured the tip of his right thumb. No word on how long he will be out. But the good news is reinforcements are on their way in terms of the starting pitching staff. Monday, Cole Hamels will make his first start coming off the DL after that oblique injury. Then Tuesday, Tyson Ross. Wednesday, Yu Darvish, after saying he feels good to go with that tricep discomfort from last night. And then Thursday, it's a possibility, guys, that Andrew Kashner could be inserted back into the starting rotation. He threw a 41-pitch bullpen today. He'll do another side tomorrow, see how he feels. If all goes well there's a possibility he could start on Thursday in Cleveland, guys.
Yeah, lots going on right now with this team, and guys in and out seems like with relative frequency.
Yeah.
But, you know, opportunities right now could be a short-term move. Get yourself a little extra depth on the bench, and the good news, Cole Hamels coming back in the Cleveland series. Austin Bibens-Dirks, meanwhile, all he has done is fill in this rotation and deal as he goes after Didi Gregorius in the 7th inning.
You talk about taking advantage of an opportunity, and Austin certainly has done that. He's done it against good teams. The story of Austin Bibens-Dirks continues to be a good one.
Head here 0-2, has 3 strikeouts this afternoon. He's allowed a run on 4 hits. The run on the Aaron Judge homer last inning. Well, you take this start as well as the start in Washington, and if you've never heard of or seen Austin Bibens-Dirks, you'd have to walk away pretty impressed.
Well, no doubt. I mean, every time we roll into town or a team comes to us, right, we talk to the broadcasters, everybody asking questions, not knowing anything about Austin, and it's one of the fun ones to fill other teams in about what he has done, what he brings to the table, how he works. You know, we talked about too, obviously, how it's just been a nice fit for the coaching staff here. Jeff Bannister, Doug Brocail, they really like the kind of way he approaches it. They like his story too, but they like winning more than anything, and they believe that Austin can contribute in a winning way. He has done that so far here with the Rangers, but I think it's the personality that works for them as well. This
one lined down into left field, base hit for Gregorius.
We'll see how far they push this when it's all said and done, as the Rangers have gotten Alex Claudio up now in the bullpen, and he's been such a huge asset as well. But you know, just kind of finishing up the thought on the personality. You know, Austin, he's kind of a lunch pail guy, right? Just comes to work, gets it done. No drama surrounding him. Obviously, it's been a great story getting to the big leagues at 32 years old. And I really believe that both Jeff Bannister and Doug Brocail have great appreciation for that. Just guy wants to work, wants to win. Grateful for the opportunity, gets after it. Low maintenance.
That's it. That's a pretty fair, pretty good way to describe it.
Like the anti-Dave Raymond is really kind of how I look at it.
Exactly.
Making me go get you cupcakes in between breaks. That thing is sitting there. It's looking at you with its Reese's Pieces cups on top of it.
Have you left any of those strawberries in the dining room for anybody else?
I've done some damage to the chocolate-covered strawberries here at Yankee Stadium.
It's interesting. I mean, it's a very big city. A lot of people. I believe you've consumed at least 80 to 85% of all of them.
The count is 12 over a day and a half here. It's not a low number.
Tyler Austin, roller shortstop. Cosman to second, 1. Odor to first. Double play. And a big fist pump from Austin Bibens-Dirks. Excited to get a little help defensively.
And some excitement from Rougned Odor as well, because this was not an easy turn for him with Didi Gregorius coming in. Not late by any means, but just there around the same time. And this is a really nice turn from Cosmo. Watch Odor here when you see the excitement, a little bit of contact from DD, perfectly clean, and he gets it done. But yet nobody happier than Austin, because you start thinking, and I started thinking after the base hit, now back against the wall now, get some arms up in the bullpen, and maybe we might see some kind of pitching change. But Austin quickly erases the base hit.
Reyes out to right field. Chu is there, and the inning is done. And how about it, ABD? We're through 7 in the Bronx.
Oh, this guy's taking a picture. Oh,
So he's done.
I would say so, based on the reactions and the conversations. And Jeff Bannister had gone over and talked to Austin and a couple of the coaches and teammates. And when you see the handshakes, yes, excellent job by Austin. Does it again on the road against a tough opponent. Tremendous.
I can't ask for a whole lot more than that. Our AT&T pitching matchup tomorrow. Pineda for the Yankees. Nick Martinez, been pretty good his last couple of starts, will have the ball for the Rangers. And should this one hold, rubber game tomorrow, perhaps. That's the idea. 8th inning, and Andrews takes strike 1 from Tyler Webb, who was in briefly last inning, got the final out when he got Chu to fly out to left field. He was quoted recently as saying a flute without holes is not a flute. A donut without a hole is a Danish.
Munchkin. What?
Ty Webb.
Oh. Caddyshack.
Pool out back. Pond would be better for you probably. And Tyler Webb. I was excited when I saw him on the roster. I thought, hey, we might see him in this series. The great Ty Webb. Me winning isn't, you do. The 1-2 pitch. And just foul.
Would you say that Caddyshack presented the absolute worst, greatest original version?
Oh boy.
Horrific sequel.
Yeah, that
cinematic history.
That might be the biggest disparity, yeah. Although there have been some other bad ones, man. Slapshot 2, that's a good one. Vito chiming in on that one. Smoking the Bandit 2 wasn't great either.
No.
Andrews 1 for 3. And the pitch, he fights it off foul.
I put Judge Schmales up there as maybe one of the greatest fictional characters in the history of movies. There's the judge. Another good judge here. Chambers. So you know me, It drives me crazy they can't completely see the word "the"
Right.
for the judges' chambers. You got to be at the right angle. I would say probably, I don't know, 65% of the stadium can't see that completely.
More.
Maybe more.
Way more.
Actually, you're probably right.
There's like there's probably
80%.
like 15 people who can actually see.
Who is E-Judge? It's a really cool idea.
It's a great idea. Roller shortstop. Gregorius is there. And Andrews turned back to start the 8th inning. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's send it back to Dana Larson. All right, thanks, Dana. Here's Adrian Beltre, 2 for 2 with a walk, facing the left-hander Tyler Webb. Beltre adding a few more hits to his resume. Think about the number of pitchers off whom he has collected a hit. He could add Webb to that long list as well. Hits this one in the air, left center field. Hicks ranging over, but it is the center fielder Williams who puts it away, and there are 2 out. And so Webb stays off the list for the moment. Beltre today, first time he's been retired. Reached 3 times previous. Now Odor, who is 0 for 3 but has scored a run, on a fielder's choice in the 4th inning. Webb, the 3rd pitcher of the day for the Yankees. Sessa went 5. Holder an inning and 2/3. And now Webb. And this his big league debut.
He's done a good job. He's thrown strikes, got a couple of fly outs. Pretty well struck ball by Shin-Soo Choo, the first batter that he faced. That line out to left field. He's thrown strikes. Doesn't look intimidated or scared. He's got himself a good matchup here against Rougned Odor.
He jumps ahead 0-2. We'll talk about defensive shifts. The shift actually shifted from that last pitch to this one. It's the 0-2 pitch. That one is low. 1-2.
I've noticed that from the Yankees. They do a lot of 2-strike shifts. Right, there's one approach where before you get to that 2-strike count where you want certain guys, and they do that based on they believe maybe is either the approach of the hitter, where they've seen some changes with 2 strikes.
Strike 3 called on Odor, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Webb. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Rangers lead by 3. inning. And it was another one of those days for Austin Bibbins-Dirks.
He just dealt today, keeping these Yankee hitters off balance. Great use of the slider, sparingly, I think, using that fastball at times, pitching backwards to a lot of these guys, and then just getting big outs. We saw this double play here in the 7th inning and delivering a very quick 7th inning after a leadoff base hit. And Austin Bibbins-Dirks continues the miracle season that has been there. And a little congratulations from Jeff Bannister and appreciation for the great job that he has done. I mean, not even facing good opponents, but going deep in the game as well and shutting down some good offenses. And he will now hand it off to Alex Claudio. As you see the pitch arsenal, that two-seam fastball, the sinker. It's at 86 miles an hour, but it is the nasty changeup. Using it 27% of the time, I think, is the difference maker here for Alex, who has been really such an important part of this team. Doesn't throw real hard like most of these relievers do, but he's been extremely impactful.
Well, he has, and his role seems to grow every day. He maintains such an incredible consistency. And this bullpen, let's face it, last night, very fresh memory of what this bullpen has been through this year. Its 14th blown save last night in a 2-1 loss in extras. Makes guys like Claudio more and more valuable every minute. Austin Romine waiting on a 1-1. And this one hit weakly on the ground to second base, and Odor takes care of Romine, 1 away.
And that's what he does. It's the weak contact, getting guys to roll over, especially when he's facing those right-handed hitters. And a successful first batter here for Alex Claudio, and now it'll be the lefty Mason Williams. And surprising, we don't see any kind of pinch hitter here. Jose Leclerc is up in the Ranger bullpen. He is up because a couple of hitters from now, Aaron Judge would be due up. So I got to believe if anybody gets on base, especially if there was 2 runners on base, but even 1, we most likely would see Jose Leclerc come in to face Aaron Judge.
Mason Williams 1 for 2 with a walk so far. He's done a really good job in that leadoff spot today for the Yankees. Stolen a couple of bases. 1-1 the count. The Rangers trying to bounce back this afternoon and set up a rubber match tomorrow before heading out of town for Cleveland. 4 games against the Indians coming up Monday through Thursday. A long road trip, a 10-game road trip for this Rangers team. 1-2 the count.
Certainly not going to get any easier for the Rangers, and as they try to continually stay above 500 but also climb back into the race in the American League West. It's 1 series at a time and some challenging ones on this road trip.
Fly ball to left field. Williams retired, and there are 2 out in this 8th inning. Brings up Aaron Hicks. Hicks was 0 for 4 yesterday, 0 for 3 today. The Rangers have done a good job of slowing him down, and that it's not insignificant, keeping that man off the bases. The guy who bats just in front of Aaron Judge. Judge homer in his last at bat. Claudio finds that outside corner. Better than 40,000 on hand this afternoon. We had 39,600 yesterday. 40,225 this afternoon.
Now, of those 40,000, how many are wearing a Yankee jersey with a name on the back of it right now?
Well, you've been sitting on that for like a day and a half.
Bob knows what I'm talking about. He's sitting back here. He's embarrassed for those folks. It is like that is a cardinal sin if you're a Yankee fan. A name, it says Jeter on the back of your number 2 jersey. It's retired. We know who it is. Come on.
Just a quick glance.
I see like 6.
Judge, Jeter, Dent. Astro.
Now, listen, if you're a Bucky Dent fan, you're wearing number 20. All right, you know, Jorge Posada was 20, and I can see maybe if you want everybody to know you're a Dent guy and not a Posada guy, maybe, but not on your 2, not on your 23, not on your 99.
DiMaggio down there.
It's a crime against humanity.
It's a swing and a miss. And Hicks down on strikes. It's a 1-2-3 for Alex Claudia. Jorge Posada likes it. Rangers with the 4-1 lead. They've done it with the long ball today. Starting in the 4th inning with Carlos Gomez.
And good to see Carlos continue to swing the bat well, go deep here in the Bronx, and it was a big one. We didn't get the reaction that we usually get from Carlos. He was certainly happy to hit that one. And then in the 7th inning, Robinson Chirinos also continuing to get it done when he gets opportunities and hitting the long ball. So a couple of home runs today. And kind of expected, I think, here with the Rangers. None last night, even though they're facing a couple of pitchers that have let up a lot of home runs. It was Tanaka who has struggled with it, but pitched great last night. But you cannot hold this this Ranger offense down very much. Now we got a pitching change. Tyler Clippard in for the Yankees, and it has been a struggle for him as of what you see the overall numbers. You think, well, 3.77 ERA, certainly not that bad, but he has had some issues. His last 6 games, 3 2/3, 7 earned runs, 3 home runs allowed over those 3 2/3 innings. So it's been a rough stretch here for Tyler Clippard.
Well, he gets Carlos Gomez in the 9th inning. Gomez, Napoli, and Chirinos do.
See that 92-mile-an-hour fastball? That's about average for Tyler Clippard. He really relies on the changeup and the split finger. So change of speeds for him combined, he throws those 2 pitches about 50% of the time. So half of his pitches are usually that changeup or the split.
This is outside, goes 2-0 on Gomez, trying to stay away from him. One would understand Gomez, 6 home runs now in 8 games since coming back from the disabled list. One's in there for a strike, 2-1.
You see the changeup there, 78 miles an hour. And when you throw it as much as Tyler Clippard does, even though you get in a fastball count, you can almost expect to see the changeup if you're a good hitter, especially one with power.
He's been aiming for that corner, finally got it. Evens the count at 2-2. Clippard, 32 years old now. And a breaking ball misses outside. His big league debut was with the Yankees in 2007. Ended up spending the better part of his career with the Washington Nationals, however. back there, I guess it's been a little while now. He won like 11 games in relief for the Nats as this one ripped down the left field line, foul. Way out of play. Count remains full on Gomez.
And not an easy thing to do, those 78 games that he pitched. And when he was with the Washington Nationals, they used him often. He had a 5-year stretch where he pitched in at least 70 games for them, and had done an excellent job. But as far as those wins as a reliever, it means you're probably pitching in a lot of tie games or games where maybe your team is down by 1, they come back and they take a lead. So a lot of close situations for him, and he was the right man in the right spot, picking up 11 Ws.
Well, he walks Gomez to start the 9th inning. And it brings up Mike Napoli. Yeah, so Clipper, that year, that was 2010. He won 11 games in 78 relief appearances. The next year, now 78 relief appearances, 91 innings. That's a pretty good workload for a guy. The next year he bounced back and was even better. Had a 183 earned run average in 72 appearances for the Nats. And it comes very high to Napoli after walking Gomez. Napoli 0 for 3. Clippard from that high set, and it's a swing and a miss. The count 1-1. 6'3", 200 pounds. Almost 8 years of service time. When you look at the strikeout numbers for relievers, and there's some great power arms in the game these days. But going back to 2009, Tyler Clippard has more strikeouts than all of them. Runner going, and there is a ball that's low. The throw is high to second base, and Gomez in with a stolen base, his 6th of the year.
It was a pretty good jump by Carlos Gomez, but then we also saw Austin Romine hesitate a little bit as he went to throw this baseball down to second base, which allowed Carlos Gomez to get in there with his 6th stolen base of the season.
So that removes any possibility of that force or even your conventional ground ball double play, with Gomez now at second base, and a slight shift on the infield for Napoli. He'll hit this one high in the air out to left center. Gonna hang up there. Hicks and Williams converging. Hicks makes the catch, and Gomez tags and goes to third. Good aggressive base running. With 1 out, Rangers have a very big insurance run just 90 feet away.
Yeah, every run matters. Carlos Gomez is very well aware of that, and this is a good job of being aggressive, recognizing where that ball is and seeing who actually might field it as well. And then once he saw that the left fielder Hicks was going to catch that baseball, that's a harder throw for him. You see how he had to spin in that spot, and Carlos took full advantage.
That'll bring the infield in now with 1 out. Chirinos, who homered his last time up, ready at the right side, and this one bounces away from Romine. Here comes Gomez. He will score standing, and that is a big insurance run.
It was a big play. Carlos Gomez essentially just stole a run with his legs. It's a walk, stolen base, take advantage of the fly ball that was in left field and tag up. Put yourself at third base with less than 2 outs, and that's how you score on a wild pitch. Great job.
Yeah, boy, similar to last night's 9th inning when the Rangers scratched across the first run of the game. They do it this time, though, as an insurance run, and another one. This one fouled off, so the count 1-1 on Chirinos.
It's good to have Carlos Gomez back in that lineup. Aggressiveness all the way around, offensively, defensively, on the bases. He's been a huge impact here with the Rangers.
Clippard missing badly there. 2-1. Well, Rangers putting up some runs today. 5 runs on just 5 hits. Well, they've gotten the great pitching from Austin Bibbins and Alex Claudio in relief. 3-1 to Chirinos.
It does look like Clippard is kind of fighting himself a little bit. The release point is inconsistent. That last pitch, he kind of got around it a little bit and pulled it in a 2-1 count, and he's really struggled to get a feel for the strike zone. He's always had a very respectable walk rate. You mentioned some of those years that he had in Washington where he got pretty good with it, but 3.7 per 9 over the course of his career. Slightly below league average.
He's gotten the count back to full on Chirinos. Payoff on the way, and that is high. Ball 4, second walk of the inning. These are similar boos to the ones we heard yesterday in the 10th inning, raining down on Chris Carter, who was released after the game. Clippard hearing it with a couple of walks in this 9th inning.
Anytime you go through a rough stretch, you're going to hear about it here. I mean, you're going to hear about it anywhere, but you hear about it here a little bit more. You mentioned the good crowd of just over 40,000 today. Tyler Clippard was a guy that was traded over here last year after signing a 2-year deal with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and even though he started with the Yankees at 22, it was just 6 starts, so they're not that familiar with him, and they've seen his struggles as of late, and the patience have run thin here among Yankee fans.
Chirinos with a small lead. Cosma offers it the first pitch, pops it in foul ground. And the shortstop Gregorius is there to put it away. 2 out in the 9th. That'll get the Shields back to the plate. So the Rangers scored 3 runs today on Sessa, who went 5 innings in his start. Holder gave up a run in his inning and 2/3. Webb was scoreless for an inning and a third. They've added a run on the Yankees Clippard here in this 9th inning. Shields takes one on the outside corner for a strike. Lino walked and scored in the first inning. He's in a hole now. 0-2. It's a quick turnaround for these two clubs. Yesterday, the rain delay a little short of 2 hours. Game went 3.5 hours into extra innings. The first bus after the game got back to the hotel, I want to say around 1:30 in the morning.
First bus.
The first bus.
Wow.
And turn around quickly back here today. The last bus left the ballpark, or rather left the hotel at 9:30 a.m. So not a lot of sleep for these two clubs.
First bus was at 8, right, this morning?
Yeah. Tomorrow another day game. We get started an hour later here. Pre-game coverage will begin at 12:30 tomorrow. Final game of this series, and then off to Cleveland.
I have a lot of confidence that I will not be on the first bus once the entire season. Whether it's at 8 a.m. or 2 p.m.
Behind the Shields, the count 2-2. Why do you say that?
Well, it's just, you know, it's different as a broadcaster compared to being a player. You don't need to be at the ballpark that early. I usually try to get here about 3 hours before. Pretty fair time. Second bus suits me nicely, especially when the first one's at 8 a.m.
8 a.m.'s aggressive. That is aggressive. Shields stays alive, 2-2. Boy, the clubhouse very quiet this morning, and by quiet I don't mean that there wasn't a whole lot of sound, although there wasn't. There was nobody in there.
Yeah, makes sense. I'd heard that there was a lot of people in there right before he walked in. The word got out, everybody hid in the training room in the kitchen. I don't know if that's true. It's unconfirmed, but that's what Adrian told me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Chirinos at first, 2-2 pitch, and that one out into right field, base hit. So DeShields is on. Chirinos stops at second. And the pain continues for Clippard in this 9th inning.
Well, this is a good approach here by Delino DeShields, and you think about, well, okay, they're pretty comfortable now. 5-1 game with the swing get big. That's not what Delino does. He's one of the few in this lineup who doesn't take the big swings. It's about the hits. He's got all that room on the right side of the infield with first baseman holding Chirinos, and he takes advantage. He gets himself a nice high fastball, very similar to what we saw from Elvis Andrus in his first at bat when he drove that ball to right field and drove in Delino, and the right approach, and Delino continues to get it done.
Couple of base runners for Chu. Chu 0 for 4 so far. He was in a similar spot yesterday when he came up in the 10th inning and walked. And he takes a strike from Clippard. Even with the 0 for yesterday, Chu's average was 300 over the last 11 games. He's dipped below that this afternoon, but lately has been pretty well dialed in. No balls, 2 strikes here in the ninth. Last night was one of those nights, though, for anybody, we mentioned this earlier, on either side, where there were a lot of offers and hitless at bats that were strung together. Both starters, Yu Darvish, Masahiro Tanaka, were outstanding into the 7th and 8th innings respectively. Clippard's 2-strike offering. That's inside, and Romine keeps it close enough. Nobody advances. Clippard, he's had to work this inning. His 28th pitch fouled back. And that's another thing Chu will do to a guy. He can throw a lot of extra pitches. And for Clippard, this has been a little bit of agony for him. A walk started at a stolen base. Later on, a wild pitch would get a run home. Then he walked Chirinos with an out. DeShields, after a lengthy at bat, just singled into right field.
Carlos Gomez really kicked it off, right? A 7-pitch at bat when he drew that walk to start this inning off, and it just didn't seem to end after that, with these Ranger hitters continued to work him really well. Mike Napoli saw 4 pitches. You mentioned Chirinos seeing 6. Now Cosma did pop out on the first pitch, but Delino put a good one together, and now here we are again with Chu, and that's what can be so frustrating. You're sitting there going, you're grinding, you're struggling. Tyler Clippard has had a bad run. First guy makes you work really hard. You end up walking him, and a couple more guys get on, then you got to face Chu. He's going to make you work. It's never going to be that easy against him either.
Chu hits this ball well out to right center field. That one is down and rolls to the fence. Chirinos is in. Here comes DeShields. He'll score. A 2-run double by Chu. The Rangers have made it a 3-run 9th inning, and they lead by 6.
Well, great at bat by Chu, and talked about him working the count, then eventually getting the pitch that he wanted and one that he could handle, trying to go down and away. The ball finishes out over the middle of the plate, drives this ball so well in the gap, and Delino DeShields with 2 outs is thinking about scoring all the way. The score of the game does not matter at all. You see Chirinos scoring very easily, and then Delino busting it home as well for a 2 RBI double. 5th for Chu this season.
So the inning continues for Clippard, and what a struggle it has been for him. And now Elvis Andrus. You know, we got here yesterday for the beginning of this series. This new stadium built across the street from the original house that Ruth built. Babe Ruth, the greatest player of all time, longtime Yankee, former Boston Red Sox as well. And yesterday was the 100-year anniversary of probably the greatest no-hitter story ever. And it involved Babe Ruth, although he was a Red Sox at the time. Started the game against Washington, walked the first hitter, punched the plate umpire in the face, was ejected.
Why not?
Yeah, because that stuff happened. And then Ernie Short came on. They caught that leadoff hitter stealing. Shore retired the next 26 in a row, so very nearly a perfect game. Ended up just the no-hitter. Babe Ruth, the combined no-hitter with Ernie Shore, although he shouldn't get a whole lot of credit.
Sort of.
There's a swing, and that one down the left field line. Base hit for Andrus. Chu will score from second. Andrus will walk in with an RBI double. And it is 8-1 Rangers.
Well, it's pretty unbelievable to see as you take a look at Joe Girardi, who's not flinching at all. It seems like Tyler Clippard will stay out there, but it has been amazing really to see the struggles of a guy who's been so good, but just right now going through that rough stretch. I mentioned, of course, coming into this game, his last 6, he had allowed 7 earned runs over 3 2/3, and now so far through 2/3 of an inning here, he has allowed 4 earned runs.
So now the 8th batter of the inning against Clippard. Beltre already has 2 hits today and takes one down the middle for a strike. Fans here have gotten a little restless about Clippard's performance. The Rangers led 4-1 going into this 9th inning. They have added 4 more. 8 runs, 8 hits. While the Yankees have managed to run on 5 hits. Clippard's 0-2. Beltre strikes out to win the inning, but the Rangers add 4 more runs and have opened up a big one. Shin-Soo Choo delivered ostensibly the knockout blow. Deep drive to center field. And we go to the last of the 9th. Bottom of the 9th inning, and well, the Rangers have opened up a 7-run lead. 8-1 our score. Aaron Judge will lead it off, and Keone Kela is on out of the pen.
There's the good breaking ball from Kela. Now this is an interesting at bat. Something to keep in mind as a reliever. It's an 8-1 game, and yes, you want to get Aaron Judge out. Now Kela is a 2-pitch pitcher. You see it there, fastball, curveball. But there is that possibility that tomorrow or later in the season when they play again, that he could be facing Aaron Judge in a much bigger situation, right? Tying run on base, or maybe he represents a tying run. I was taught this earlier in my career. I'm not saying that Kela should be doing anything different here, but I remember as a lefty specialist getting the lesson about when it was okay to let up a hit. Now, you don't want to let up a hit to Aaron Judge. It's not the goal. But if there's an area that you know that you want to go to, that you believe you can get him out, you may stay away from that in this situation, just because you don't want to see it and savor it for when you really need it, especially because he's such a dangerous hitter having a huge year. I'm not saying that's the case here, but it's one of those things that you learn as you go along. It's okay, you know what, if I know I can get the fastball up and in under his hands to finish him, I may not show that in this at bat. Worst case scenario, if he hits a home run, so what? It's 8-2. And plow through the rest of the lineup, no big deal if he does something different. But that's what you learn as you go along, and again, never intentionally letting up hits, but also not going to the honey hole too often. Is that a good phrase? I don't know if that's the right phrase. You know what I'm saying.
I like it, and I also like. I love the concept. Here's my question though. And now full count to Aaron Judge. You're Keone Kela, and maybe even appreciate that he had a little bit of time in 2015. Last year pitched in 35 games. This is only his 3rd year in the big leagues. A little bit harder maybe when you're still trying to establish yourself.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Want to do that?
Yes and no. I mean, I think he is. I think he has an established role in this bullpen. I think Jeff Bannister knows that he can count on Kela to do things like that, striking out great hitters as he throws a 99-mile-an-hour fastball that Aaron Judge looks at. Yes, when you're younger and you're not sure about your role, no, you can't do that. You got to try to get everybody out. Don't save anything. But I think as you become a little bit more of a veteran, a little bit more established, and this is a really good fastball right here that Judge just could not pull the trigger on. 99 matching his number. A couple of 99s right there.
Well, he freezes Judge. 1 out in this 9th inning. And Matt Holliday takes some heat high for a ball.
Hundo right there from Kela. It's a strategy that really works for the lefty specialist. A lot of times when you're only facing the same guys over and over again, right? You think about being a lefty specialist, say, coming in and facing this team. There's not a lot of big lefties in the lineup right now, or say even flip side if you're facing Chu or Odor, you're chasing Shreve, whoever it may be. Those kind of approaches. There's a time and a place. It's not very often, but it is something you learn as you get a little bit older, and especially if it's a team in your division, playing them 19 times a year, you also learn. Maybe save it for when I need it. I was treated Jim Thome that way. Jim Thome, I felt like I could get inside on him with a good 2-seam fastball. If the game wasn't on the line, I'd probably pitch him more away. When it mattered most, I'm running the ball in on his hands. I might get hurt a little bit with the base hit once in a while, or he could even hit the ball out to left field when you pitched him away with the fastball. But when it mattered the most, you went to the spot you knew where you can get him.
Did it work pretty well for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to bring up a guy that crushed me. There's plenty of lefties that crushed me. I was pretty good against Jim Thome, so that's why I used that example. But that was, that was one that always would stick out to me. But I remember a veteran sitting me down one time and said, "Hey, you know when it's okay to give up a hit?" I'm like, "Never? What do you mean? When is it okay to give up a hit?" It's never okay to give up it. He said, "No," and he kind of walked me through it a little bit and taught me out, which I thought was a pretty valuable lesson as a reliever.
Well, pop up to first base. Napoli is there, 2 away. Yeah, so when you look back, if I were to, I don't know, carve up the numbers against Thome, would I find high leverage your numbers a lot better than, let's say, low leverage?
I think I only let up like 1 hit against him, 1 or 2 over the course of my career.
So maybe you didn't need to save it. Maybe you just
well, it's even taking the chance. If I knew that he was good on fastballs away and say, I'm going to go ahead and throw, I still might get him out. I had to remember having the conversation with Phil Gardner one time facing Paul O'Neill, sitting right next to us right now, a booth over. And he came out, he jogged out to the mound real quick. He said, "Hey," it was like we were winning by like 4 or 5. He goes, "Hey, I only want you to throw him fastballs away in this at bat." And I was really frustrated by it at the time. So I was like, well, I know I can get Paul O'Neill if I run my 2-seamer in, and then I can open up the outside part of the plate. He said, "Do not throw him anything in. I only want 4-seam fastballs away in this at bat. And he hit a ground ball up the middle and got a base hit. And I hated that. His point was afterwards, as he talked to me, he said, now when it's closer, I need you to then run that ball in, and you can flip your breaking ball in there as well, whatever it may be. But he hasn't seen it. And you're going to see him again tomorrow, and you may see him again the next day afterwards, because I'm only using you 1 or 2 hitters at a time. So there's some back and forth on that, but you learn to get comfortable with it.
1-2 to Starlin Castro. I love it. Oh, it makes all the sense in the world. 8-1. Rangers with the lead, trying to even this series after a tough loss last night. Give themselves a chance to win the series tomorrow. Kella needs one more out or one more strike, whatever the case, and he gets that strike. Castro down swinging. Ball game over, and the Rangers take one in convincing fashion in the Bronx. 8-1 the final score, and a hat tip to Austin Bibbins-Dirks.
He does it again. Big smile there. I mean, how happy is he right now? Thinking about even the past year, and of course being in